welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka TheIndianJesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. What is going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out to King Nirvana in the building. What is going on? What is going on? So you guys may have seen that our boy Sam Seder was the most recent victim, the most recent subject. Shout out to Morty here in the building on Jubilee's 20v1 debates. I did something similar with Andrew Wilson at DebateCon. Hopefully that'll be coming out soon. And we know that Jubilee is very copyright heavy. So we're risking it. We're doing a risk by just covering this. And because of that, I also, in case anything gets taken down, the mods already have a link for another stream that I've already set up. So if anything happens, we're just going to switch it up. I got it back up. So stick with me. Hit the link, and we will keep the party raging. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. And that's the idea, right? These, too early to curse. These people from the Majority Report are really just not good people, and I am here for it. Shout out to Jaden. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see you. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Like, what's the problem with xenophobic nationalism? Do you think that's better for Americans in general?
Like, xenophobic nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture.
Which, do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. Like, you and I have
I don't need this part.
Mental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this.
So again, if you're not familiar, this is Sam Seder of the Majority Report. He's been on like Timcast and all these places, and he is just a straight up grifter trying to get clips. And he specifically said it on the Culture War when he was there with Tim. Like, oh, I got what I came for. It's like, bro, at least pretend a little bit. But I guess people want it. Jaden said, I'm your biggest fan. Jaden, thank you so very, very much for saying that. Let's give Jaden a dilly-dilly. Thank you so very, very much. Let's see if I can live up to it, guys. Did I already say that? As always, if you can have the video, please do let me know.
Hi, I'm Sam Seder, host of the Majority Report. Today, I am surrounded by 20 conservatives. My first claim is Trump's attack on DEI hides his real goal, which is to give corporations more power.
Obviously, the opposite is true, but that is typically how Sam Seder goes through the world and just says all of the things that are not the truth.
All right. Oops, sorry, Sam.
No worries.
All right. I think I have a slight issue with the back end of the premise. I guess Trump's attacks on DEI being a real goal to, give corporations more power. I'd rather center the conversation around the democratic, especially as conservatives, the issues that people have with DEI and why I believe Trump would, want to support the issues that, people are voting for him for.
I mean,
yeah, so we see his first prompt, and this is a common misconception that the person's like, oh, he's debating 20 people. How is he's gonna be able to take down all 20 people? But it's actually a misnomer because he is the one who has a consistent ability to address things. He is the one who's coming up with the prompts. He's the one that's driving the conversation. And so it's a matter of, it's a little bit of a bait and switch. As somebody who has been in the chair across from somebody who has a big name is acting like, oh, if ours was a 5 or 4v1 or whatever. It wasn't exactly like this, but it was the same kind of thing. And it made me realize that, like, oh, you're actually at an advantage by having all these different people around because everybody else is, trying to get their word in, but you can just sit there and chill and run out the clock. And
I'm talking about his whole attack on DEI. It's actually DEIA, right? You know that, in government agencies. The A
more like DEI gay
being for accessibility.
Right. Yeah, and I think the attack on DEI isn't an attack on people's protections. It's on the other end of the spectrum, right? Wanting to end DEI doesn't want to end protections for someone being disabled, someone being, inaccessible to get into a job. It rather wants to de-incentivize corporations to push them to hire these people on unfair bases, right?
But DEIA is not about quotas or anything like that.
Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever even heard the A be part of DEI. I've never even heard that.
Right.
But DEIA is not about quotas or anything like that. It is about protections for people within these organizations, or to make sure that you have different communities that have the opportunity to apply to these things.
Right.
So it can mean within government agencies, it means things like, let's pay interns so that not only wealthy people can have their kids do internships in these agencies, or let's put out notices around different parts of town, metaphorically speaking, so that people know this job exists.
This is where it begins, but this is.
Shout out to Lone Wolf. Welcome to the parties. Why would someone want to be hired because of their the color of their skin instead of their skill? Nobody does. But I think there's enough people that feel like, oh my goodness, we're so oppressed by the white man that we need the government to cater to us poor, unskilled black people, poor, unskilled women, because only white men can do real jobs, right? That's the messaging of DEI and all this wokeness and stuff. So definitely, they either don't, or they've been too brainwashed to realize that they should want to be hired based on the merit of their skill. Welcome to the party, Lone Wolf.
Isn't the ultimate goal that conservatives have an issue with. Conservatives don't have an issue with trying to spread job applications to poorer communities.
Well, then why rescind DEIA requirements in government agencies?
Because the problem with DEIA is there may not be like perceived actual number quotas, but that's what it devolves into, and especially with corporations.
Do you have the evidence of that?
I mean, sure, we can look.
Shout out to Shifty Eyes Shady. Welcome to the party. Well, I won't give you a dilly, but good luck on your journey, sir, and welcome to the party.
Corporations that are government agencies that are hiring people on not true proper bases. We can even look at.
Would you have
DNC's,
any evidence that that's happening?
Yeah, even the DNC's nomination of Kamala as president this year. There was no reason to nominate Kamala as she wasn't democratically selected. She didn't go through a single primary. None of these things.
So you're saying that Kamala was the vice president of the United States after the president drops out 2 months before the convention. You think that's a DEI?
She wasn't
higher.
Every presidential nominee is democratically selected to be the nominee for that party.
Do you realize
except
there were
for
not
except for her. And yep, already source. And like, especially in this this type of debate where you're not allowed to bring sources. At least in my case, we didn't know what the prompts were going to be. So unless I'm going to have a literal library in my mind of what's going on, then what do you want from me here? I didn't know what you were going to say. Jaden, so the only thing Kamala wanted was to ruin the world. Yep, definitely seemed that way. I think more so she wanted power at any cost, and ruining the world was an okay cost to her.
Every presidential nominee is democratically selected to be the nominee for that party.
Do you realize there were not even primaries prior to 1972?
Well, sure,
in the Democratic Party?
This isn't before 1972.
Well, I understand, but what did you think you were going to run primaries in those 2 months?
Well, sure,
Joe Biden should have dropped out even 3 years ago.
Well, sure, but even before, when Kamala was running in primaries, she didn't. She wasn't the next man up. None of this. She wasn't the next person.
Well, she was the vice president,
right? Of course, but she wasn't in primaries.
Detail. But listen, aside from, I would have might have wanted a different candidate as well. But that has nothing to do with Trump rescinding orders that basically say you need to search for a wide range of candidates, not necessarily give any different benefits, but you need to make sure different communities have access to the awareness of this job. You need in your office accessibility for people who have physical handicaps.
Sure.
If you have folks who identify as as trans, you need to make it at least hospitable and not. This is all non-discriminatory stuff. That's what this is all about.
But you're cherry picking the portions of DEI that even conservatives don't have issue. Conservatives don't have.
Exactly. It's like, whoa, does that mean that you want all the workplace to be white? Like, why would you even think that? A little bit of projection.
What this is all
But you're
about.
cherry picking the portions of DEI that even conservatives don't have issues. Conservatives don't have
That's
issues with
what
making workplaces.
the whole DEI
Yes.
apparatus within our
It is-
government
okay.
was a function of doing exactly
It
what I
is-
said, had nothing to do with quotas.
It
or
is
even
unfortunate
affirmative
that
action.
those things get taken out, and there might not have been specific
What
numeric
else?
Once again, really quick, if you would like to be a bod, whenever you see this banner, I very much appreciate a working link to the Discord.
Was he trying to take out?
It's trying to take out people getting jobs that don't deserve those jobs. People getting pushed into
There is
positions
no
they have
evidence.
no qualification.
There is no evidence of what you just said happening in these government agencies.
That's not true. I mean, we're not allowed to sit here and have notes and numbers to pull up for you. You can't,
Give me
you know,
one example.
You can't ask me to pull up numbers when I'm not.
He did. He started this whole conversation by talking about Kamala Harris, who was a DEI hire and said so by Joe Biden. That's not a question. That's not an opinion.
I'm not able to sit here and look on a computer for you, but these are the
How would you
problems that
even-
conservatives.
Sorry, you've been voted out. Please.
That's the one thing. So again, the other part of this, if you're not familiar with this format, there's 20 people sitting around, and if more than half, meaning 11, raise their red flag, then that means they want to swap somebody out. I was frustrated going through when I was I did actually watch this whole thing. I wasn't fully paying attention, but I like to have as fresh of a reaction as I can. But the times when like y'all got to work together. Well, y'all got to work together. When someone's cooking, don't flag them out just because you want to talk. You know, it's everybody versus Sam, not everybody for themselves. Shout out to Indyville. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. James said that I just want to let you know that you're pinned as a favorite channel. Oh, I am feeling the love, Jaden. Thank you so very, very much.
Not able to sit here and.
I'm so glad we didn't have to do the running part.
See ya.
When we did DebateCon with Andrew Wilson, it was just, it was 5 people and everybody had 5 minutes on each prompt, and then we would just do round robin. I was like, when they were in the emails, I was like, the only thing I want is that we don't have to run to a chair. 10 a.m. That's not what my body is made for.
Okay, so I think the roots issue with DEI isn't what the previous gentleman was trying to point. Conservatives aren't necessarily have issues with those things like accessibility to people who might need help. The issue is, and I kind of
It's almost like that's a caricature and not actually what people believe.
referred to this before. When you have agencies and systems, what tends to happen when you have government overreach, big government, is that agencies and systems get abused. And I think unequivocally, DEI was heavily abused in practice. It was great in theory. It's idealistic, which is sure is fine, that a lot of people can get behind, but it was abused. And a lot.
I mean, only on the very basic idea that we want people to have accessibility to these jobs. That's the only place where, like, okay, that's a good ideal. But we already had that. Was it perfect? Obviously not. And class issues definitely disproportionately affect the DEI people. But just making quotas is not the way to go.
A lot of ways. When you have actors, like we're in California right now, when you have actors, white male actors who are being told, we do not want white men, we're not going to cast any white men, we only want this particular kind of gender, race, right? That is an abuse of a system. It's no longer fair, but more about just perpetuating one aspect of, visual compelling aspects. Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is companies are going to say, well, we want to look the most diverse.
Okay,
and what that is it's moral grandstanding. Is that because we have more Black women, we sell better soda, like that.
I got you.
That is not.
Well, this is
And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. A better product or service. That is what our economy is based on. Making sure that the best people get the best stuff with the best methods at the best prices. That's what it's all about. Shout out to Dylan Soup in the building. Welcome to the party. Is it all? Not Sam Seder. But he gets wrecked. We're going to have fun. Welcome. And look at that. 7 people here, 6 likes. Thank you so very, very much for the likes, guys. I didn't even have to ask.
and because we have more black women, we sell better soda, like that.
I got you.
That is not.
Well, that's getting a little far afield from what Trump's DEI orders are. But I can tell you, as somebody who was a sitcom actor in the 90s.
Wait, Trump's DEI orders?
I would walk into a room and everybody I would see would look like me.
Or maybe you're racist and you just didn't notice the people of other colors.
I was doing a second position, which doesn't even exist anymore, where you do 2 pilots a year. And I was looking around basically every part of television when I was a kid. I was centered in some fashion. It was either this is about my mother, or this is about my father, or someone like me was centered.
But that was acting, sir. So what are you talking about? Did we not they just race swapped the Snape guy from Harry Potter. Like, he is explicitly, like, I'm not some, Potterhead, whatever, but I mean, I definitely, I'm a millennial. It's definitely a big part of my childhood. And he was perfectly cast as what was that guy's name? Alan Rick something or another. And in the book, it specifically says, pasty white skin, oily hair, and they gave it to a black dude. They're also talking about making Magneto of the X-Men a black guy. And a huge part of that character's story is being a Holocaust survivor. I don't know how many black people were in concentration camps in Germany. Well, instead he admits that he directly benefited from white supremacy. I mean, that's part and parcel for what it is. Like, I'm the good one because I recognize that I'm so much better than you as a white man. What? That's their position. That's their position.
We can argue as to whether or not Hollywood is overcorrected in some fashion, but on a governmental level, the DEIA directives that agencies
more like DEI gay
were following.
I'm sorry, I'm absolutely going to make that joke about 17 times tonight. Guys, do not forget about the Swogo. Let's finally get Morty that peanut butter. He's been waiting, and patiently so. Shout out to Holly. Welcome to the party. Said overworked and underpaid dog trainer in the building. This new what? Definitely. I mean, I don't think I would call myself overworked as a dog trainer. That's the issue. I just came from a meeting where it's like, yo, I need more clients. I'm going broke here, but underpaid, definitely. Welcome to the party. Golden notice his prompt was about billionaire business owners, not about the government, but that's what he keeps going back to. And another way that the 1 in the 20v1 is at an advantage. You drive the conversation. And when you have these very specific claims, then it disallows the person from bringing in other things that may affect what you're talking about. And so that wasn't my prompt. I'm not talking about that. And it's just, it's a cop out. So I wish they would do more like I get it. I get it. That 20v1 looks good in a title. It's very catchy. But I think if they did more, honestly, more like the one that Modern Day Debate and Uncensored America did with myself, some others, and Andrew Wilson, that it would be better. You'd have better conversations. You still have that aspect of people swapping out. And getting different perspectives while having one person in the hot seat, so to speak. But yeah, I think it just doesn't do what they want it to do.
But on a governmental level, the DEIA directives that agencies were following for the past 4 years, there's nothing. I don't know what you mean by abuse on it, but there is no evidence.
Waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, if Democrats know anything, it's how to repeat the same shit over and over and over and over and over. Waste, fraud, and abuse is constituted as money that is given, and at least in this context, money that is given to the government, and then the government wastes that money. Pretty simple.
That it was an affirmative action program in those instances. It was about anti-discrimination. You cannot discriminate against these people, and you want to open up opportunities for a broad swath of people. Again, the internship is like one of the most material things that exist there, where the idea that you need to pay interns. And that's important because you want low-income people to have the same sort of opportunities to see these things as wealthy people.
Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Again, a shout out to Dave Smith, who I don't know if this is his quote directly, but it's where I'm parroting him, that minimum wage and things like needing to pay for internships, those things are not a platform on which poor people stand to get ahead. It's a barrier they must overcome. If you're an unpaid intern, well, then you can get experience, you can learn skills, and they're at no cost to the company. Everybody wins. But if you now have to get paid, then that's just a job. And if you don't have the skills, then you don't get the job. So would you rather be an unpaid intern with prospects of actually working for this or another company and not getting paid, or just not getting paid? I'll take the internship.
Income people to have the same sort of like opportunities to see these things as wealthy people. You know, my kids can maybe afford to do an internship for the summer instead of going to get a job.
I think what's happening is
goddamn white privilege.
we're talking about two different things.
Well, but I'm talking about Trump's DEIA rescission is a way of basically driving people out of these agencies, making it
you're saying Trump specifically, and I understand why you're saying Trump, but I think the American people as a whole have kind of, and I won't say whole because obviously it's not 100%, but a majority of the American people have kind of rejected DEI because, again,
I don't think a majority of Americans know what.
Then why are they not rolling it out anymore?
Stupid DEIA is.
That may be the case, but again, my point is we're talking about abuse of a system. What you're talking about is not necessarily what was happening. What people were seeing were, hey, because you're white, you can't do this, and liberals like to do this thing where they create systems, and then they created the whole idea of woke, and then they backed away, and then conservatives say woke, and then they're like, well, we don't know what woke is. They created DEI. Biden literally said
they created transgender and queer, and none of that. They can't say what any of that means. Really quick, guys. I think I said it before. I don't remember, but Jubilee is very copyright heavy, so the stream may get blocked. If it does, I already have another stream and another thing set up. I should be able to drop it in the chat, but just in case, if the stream goes down, click the link. We're going to go right back to partying. It's obviously not going to be able to cover the same thing, but I got something in the chamber for you. No matter what, the party rages on.
Kamala Harris is being chosen because she is a black woman, and then all of a sudden, Democrats for the rest after that said that's not why she was chosen, even though Biden literally said that. And then we have this cognitive dissonance as if we're not living in reality. So,
really quick, I also want to point out this guy here. The fact that people who look and dress like this are part of the MAGA movement, in my opinion, is a very good thing.
We have this cognitive dissonance as if we're not living in reality.
Biden wanted to make sure that there was that there was an opportunity for a black woman to be his vice president.
Yes, so why did Democrats move away from that and say no, it wasn't because she was a black woman?
Because they're embarrassed of how racist they are.
My point is that
it's not because she's a black woman.
But it is, though.
What they said. I can agree that it's not because she's a black woman, but that's what they said. Why did they say that?
No, because there are plenty of black women, right? Like, he could have picked any.
Then just do it. Nobody would have said anything if he didn't say anything. If he didn't say, okay, I'm not going to look at any white people. I'm not going to look at any males. I'm only going to look at black females. Is that saying that, oh no, automatically we're going to get a bad VP because of the fact that it's a black woman? No, that's not the point. The point is that when you only look at a very narrow group of people, even the best of that group may or may not be the best person for the job. And clearly, Kamala ain't it.
But that's what they said. Why did they say that then?
No, because there are plenty of black women, right? Like, he could have picked anybody, but he picked specifically her. You're positing the idea that there wasn't a black woman who would have been qualified for that position.
Wrong. No, at no point did he ever express anything that said, oh, because it's a black woman, as I just said, I knew he was going there. I knew he was going to go that way. Well, you just don't want a black woman. Shut up.
Specifically her. You're positing the idea that there wasn't a black woman who would have been qualified for that position.
No,
and I don't believe that.
No, that's not what conservatives aren't saying, that there aren't, because again, and even in the Republican Party right now and in Trump's cabinet, there are people of color that Democrats pretend don't exist, like J.D. Vance's wife, and J.D.
Vance's wife is not in the cabinet.
No, but if JD Vance was a Democrat, his wife would be lauded all over everything because of her color of her skin.
True. Shout out to I'm not good at reading. Oh my goodness. Solastalgia. Welcome to the party. Guamtech said, notice how his prompt was about billionaire business owners, not about the government, but that's what he keeps going back to. And Solastalgia said, yeah, his argument is that this is the first steps in the Project 2025 plan of cutting and demoralizing federal agencies such that they won't regulate corporations. So, I mean, you're kind of on point. But the assumption here is that that is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It is a good thing to get the government out of business. And hopefully one of these kids will be able to articulate that. But either way, welcome to the party. And shout out to Lone Wolf. Is that a name change? Or you ain't new here, are you? We got a newbie. I'm going to assume TSN. Shout out. And Lone Wolf said, get that peanut butter ready. I love the show. Thank you so much. That's right, guys. Every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. And if you look at the top of the chat, we got a swole goal going. 9 more of these, and Morty gets his peanut butter. Thank you. So very, very much, sir.
That was a Democrat. His wife would be lauded all over everything because of her color of her skin.
I'm not here to defend the Democratic.
Oh yeah, and of course that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very much appreciated.
Democrats' choice on every policy. But there is one party in this country that is identitarian.
Yup. Agreed. The left. That's constantly talking about your identity. Why would you use that word?
Great policy. But there is one party in this country that is identitarian. There is one party that is represented and it is homogenous, and it is the Republican Party. 85% of Republicans are white. That's just the reality.
So, what? What does that have to do with anything? A little bit more projection. You're going to get a lot of projection here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you like projection, you are in the right place.
85% of Republicans are white. That's just the reality.
So does that
Some
mean
people
that,
don't necessarily.
hold on.
And that number's going up, or the amount of people who are not white voting for Republicans going up or going down? I personally didn't vote in 2020. I abstained. And then, I don't know if you can tell, not white. I am a male, but I'm not white. Voted for Trump.
Hold on. But here's the thing. You said even if let's just say, okay, that's true. 80% of Republicans are white. Does that mean that they're less moral? That they can't run in a
Of course they're white. Of course they're less moral. Come on, man. You're a black guy. You know this.
Effective government. What does race have to do? What does race have to do? Hold on. What does
Donald Trump didn't have to say my vice president's going to be a white male?
No.
Because they all knew it was going to.
No, this is the premise of DEI. What does race have to do with running an effective government? What does race have to do?
We're currently at six flags out of 20.
Let's say DEI on the micro level.
I will tell you right now.
DEI on the micro level at McDonald's.
I'll tell you.
Am I going to get better nuggets?
I'll ask you a question.
If the cashier is black or white,
Good job, dude. Because this is what you have to do, and you got to push through, and you can't be polite because of the fact that Sam is not here in good faith. He is here to get clips. He's here to steamroll. He's here to lecture. He's here to give his talking points. And I know I keep bringing this up, but shout out to Andrew Wilson for as hard-headed as I think he can be. He certainly was there for the discussion. He certainly was there to explore the ideas. And I gotta hit them up. That video should be coming out soon. It's been like 2 months, right? Like what's the holdup? Any film said Democrat brings in race to say that the Republicans are racist by being racist himself. That's a Democrat for you.
Am I going to get better nuggets?
I'll ask you a question.
If the cashier is black or white, what does that have to do with anything?
I'll tell you what it is. First of all, DEIA means that if you come into this agency or corporation, you're not going to be discriminated against because you don't look like everybody else, or you don't have the same like physical abilities as everybody else, or you may require handles on the bathroom or whatever it is. That's what DEIA does. But does it make a government better if there's a broad representation of the people it's supposed to govern? Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Regardless of DEI, don't we already have things in our Constitution that protects people's rights, protects people?
No.
Hey, shout out to the one and only Funk Master General with a $2 make you holler. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, and let's celebrate their third super on a live stream. Well, thank you so very much. And of course, the new co-sponsor of the stream. Very much appreciated. And of course, that is 2 out of 10 for our swole goal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so very, very much. Oh, whoa, and another one. Said aspiring mods might want to talk to Guamtech. Guamtech knows what is good. And another treat from Morty. Thank you. Said Lone Wolf, fuck you. I am the sponsor now. Thank you. And welcome to the party. Always a pleasure to see you, my dude, a pillar of this community.
Regardless of DEI, don't we already have things in our Constitution that protects people's rights, protects people?
No.
What? So we don't have the Civil Rights Act. We don't have Title IX. Those just don't exist. Okay, dude.
Regardless of DEI, don't we already have things in our Constitution that protects people's rights, protects people?
No.
We don't?
No.
Do we or do we not?
No, we do not. Tell me. Tell me what protects people from discrimination in housing and in work and hiring or getting loans. It's all statutes. And in these government
statutes are
agencies, there was nothing except for that order. That's why Trump just rescinded it.
Shout out to Matthew King. Welcome. Pretty sure we do. And indeed, of course we do. Could you imagine it being 2025 and there's no laws against, not hiring people based on their race? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, my goodness. Funk Master General, another third super on alive. Thank you so very, very much. Said not sure they can handle what comes with it. I may or may not agree. We will see. Thank you so very, very much. Again, out sponsoring yourself. Very, very, very much appreciated. Shout out to Box in the building. Welcome. So this is in my saved for later file. Nice. Yeah, I couldn't. I know that they might claim this and whatever. And again, in case the stream goes down, I have another link set up that I should be able to put in the chat. The mods have the link already. Either way, the party is gonna rage. Box said, Sam Cedar sells cannabis seeds. I was gonna buy a few and give them a try. I mean, hey, if the left is good at anything, they're definitely better at drugs. Welcome to the party, Box. And he said that's why the DEI stuff confused me. There are already laws against discrimination. Yep. And this was just to subvert. It was. What's the word I'm looking for? It was I guess just pandering. It's just pandering. Like, we're doing this for the blacks.
Agencies, there was nothing except for that order. That's why Trump just rescinded it.
I'm gonna tap out because I think someone else.
Wait. What?
It's all statutes. And
so you gave up? You gave up on the fact that there's no laws to protect race when he said it's just statutes. Okay, dude.
These government agencies, there was nothing except for that order. That's why Trump just rescinded it.
I'm gonna tap out because
how are you black and you don't know what the Civil Rights Act is?
I think someone else has a better can defend that point specifically better than me.
All right, please return to your seat.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay. When it comes to DEI, essentially, if
Another person on the MAGA side that maybe just by looking you would say, are they one of us? I don't know. But you can see the umbrella is widening. And again, that is a good thing. I said, fair call. The left will just sit there and scream. Definitely.
I was not racist.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, when it comes to DEI, essentially, if a person was not racist, he would hire someone regardless, right? So why would we need a policy to protect a person if we've moved past racism? So would you consider yourself racist?
I mean, I wouldn't say we moved past racism. I think that's a large thing, but I think we are moving past racism. And more importantly, we were moving past racism much faster before the DEI gay.
Wait, are you suggesting we've moved past racism?
Would you consider yourself racist?
I consider myself, and sometimes I think we all practice like some form of, white supremacy. I think.
Projection. I can promise you, as an Indian Chinese American-born man, that at no point, at least that I'm aware of, do I practice some or any form of white supremacy. But hey, if you're racist, then at least you are at least you're honest about it. I said I feel like we were pretty close before Obama. Yep. How is this a huge W? Please explain. Please explain. But yeah, I think that and I don't necessarily think it specifically has much to do with Obama himself. But I do think that around that time is when we were going from the colorblindness, which I will admit is not the end of racism to be colorblind. I do think that there is I do think there's important discussions, and it sounds gay, but I do believe that there are discussions about different cultures, different experiences, and how that affects people, and so on and so forth. But we have to be able to see each other as equals first, and then see, despite the fact that we are different, we are equal in the eyes of the law. And so yeah, that right around that time, it just stopped progressing. Monk said, if everything is racist, make them profess it. They will stop soon enough.
What?
I'm not really sure what you mean, if you want to elaborate. Matthew said, anytime you criticize Obama, you are immediately racist. Yep. Oh, damn it. That's what I meant to do.
Often, sometimes I think we all practice like some form of, white supremacy. I think actually like we all do to some degree.
Well, I'm glad that you're saying that. So I guess going to the LGBT topic, it seems like it's very prevalent for you as an issue.
Well, it seems like a big issue. I mean, the Republican Party spent literally hundreds of...
Defensive. If you're saying the Republican Party spent hundreds of millions of dollars, then you would agree that it's a big issue. Defensive.
For you as an issue.
Well, it seems like a big issue. I mean, the Republican Party spent literally hundreds of millions of dollars demonizing trans people.
Well, the reason why...
Yep, let's not forget about Anwar al-Awlaki, the American citizen that was drone bombed to death.
They've done something like that, and I think you're misconstruing the narrative. They haven't demonized them. They simply want protections back for their own children, because children are being stripped away from
their own children.
Yeah, how is that a win? Shout out to Zippy DSM Lee. Welcome to the party. So everything is racist. Everything is sexist. As humans are individuals and not generic one-to-one clones of each other. And Fuckmaster said, God damn it, that's 2 in a row. You're racist. I mean, even if you believe that everybody practices some form of white supremacy, then your language needs to be more concise in terms of intent. Because when a normal person hears you say, oh, we all have white supremacy, then what they see is, wearing a white, in their mind, they see, the white hood and burning the cross and all that stuff. And I personally understand that that's not what Sam means, but he purposely doesn't articulate it because there's enough people who will understand what he means, and then enough people that won't understand at all what he means and then attack him for what they think he means. So that all these people who do understand what he means, be like, see, you just don't get it. You just don't get it. We get it. You don't get it. It's embarrassing.
Protections.
Welcome to the party, Zippy, my boy.
Back for their own children, because
one more back.
construing the narrative. They haven't demonized them. They simply want protections back for their own children, because children are being stripped away from
Who's their
parents.
own children?
Parents?
Children are being stripped away from their parents?
Yes, due to AB 954.
Came with the source. Yes. In certain states, certain jurisdictions, if a child says that they want to transition, and you as a responsible parent are like, no, then they can take that child away.
Children are being stripped away from their parents?
Yes, due to AB 954, they've now included gender identity as a premise to remove and strip parental rights for children.
See, that's what I mean. 2 flags just went up. That is a fucking dub right there. Why would you want to throw your flag up at this point? Let them cook.
Who maybe they are rejecting their gender ideology.
So, but you'd be okay with parents who agree with their children's doctors to provide gender affirming care?
I do not agree with that. Do you?
I believe that parents and doctors can make those decisions with the kids.
If a child can't
Okay, so let's remember that he said the parents and doctors can make those decisions.
smoke, drink, or have sex before the age of 18, they should not be able to consent to a sex change. Now, in terms of
modern diversity is more segregated than past segregation. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but certainly the ill intent that comes with looking at the differences just based on immutable characteristics, I think, is way different and way more filled with vitriol. I think before it was just a misguided belief that, like, oh, black people are lesser. I'm not being mean about it. I just thought that was the truth. And yes, that is racist. But it's not the same thing as I want to end all white people because this, that, and the other. So you're kind of right.
Or have sex before the age of 18, they should not be able to consent to a sex change. Now, in terms of a DEI initiative, the reason why there's military bans on trans women and trans men is because they do not have the ability to cooperate at a mental capacity when they're constantly undergoing hormone treatment, as well as depression pills, as well as different mood stabilizer pills. And so when you go out to combat, do you really think you're going to bring an ice cooler pack with your whether that be hormone, estrogen, or whatever it may be? Well,
and this is a really good point, and I think a good analogy to demonstrate this point is talking about what if a pregnant woman could actually, pass all the physical stuff? Would it be a good idea to put that pregnant woman on the front lines or anywhere in a combat role? Obviously not. Why? Because they gotta bang. It's not even, an academic thing at all. It's just common sense. Bog said, is the left eating itself? Absolutely. Bingo. Absolutely. I wish we could have covered Charlie Kirk and Gavin Newsom, but yikes, man. You find this strange? This is exactly what I expect here. Now, let me say that I don't necessarily believe that Sam Seder is a good representative of what the average left-wing person believes. But I mean, it's not what they believe, So what do you find strange about it? I'm curious. So he said, look at how social hierarchies, it's a lot of cliques and nonsense, no different than the modern left. Oh, we gotta fix it. We gotta fix that.
Pack with your whether that be hormone, estrogen, or whatever it may be, while you're about to shoot someone of the opposing war.
Well, the executive orders that Trump gave were DEIA orders that had to do with agencies that have nothing to do with the military.
Yes, they do. Yes, they absolutely do.
The FDA. They just revoked the ability of the Air Force to teach Air Force members about
the Air Force is not the military. You brought up the FDA. What happened with the FDA?
The Tuskegee Airmen. Well, what are we talking about here?
Okay,
I don't know. We were talking about what he was saying about children getting taken away, and somehow you've brought it to the Tuskegee Airmen. Sounds like you don't really have a point. You just got a lot of talking points.
Air Force members about the Tuskegee Airmen. What are we talking about here?
Okay, well,
honestly, like we're rewriting history.
Well, that's your perspective, right? But at the end of the day, if a person
Tuskegee Airmen, we can all agree existed, right?
Just listen to this. If you were racist, right, and you were an employer, and if you wanted to absolutely be racist and exercise that, you would. I think DEI sort of prevents people from seeing the reality. If a person truly wanted to hire you based on your intellect, based on your skill set, they would. DEI essentially provides tax cuts for the end of the year when you create your tax returns. They give you a tax credit for hiring someone who is Black or a person of color. I don't know if you knew that.
In these agencies?
In agencies and private
In government
businesses.
agencies, they don't get tax cuts for hiring people of
And the
color.
other thing I wanted
This is
to-
to
and I-
protect
the other thing
people
I
from
wanna-
discrimination.
I'm pretty sure they do.
The other thing I want to kind of
Don't
state
quote
here
me, but
is that I've realized that a lot of the times with the liberals is that you guys push for example, for DEI and people of Latino or Hispanic descent. And a lot of the times what you don't realize is you're actually doing more harm than good by putting them in positions where you make them believe that it's based on the color of their skin. It's based on
DEIA.
So we said DEIA is how the nobles allow people to eat cake. It's all a smokescreen. It's all a smokescreen, and thankfully, a lot of people are waking up to it and realizing that what Democrats say is not worth anything, and that the Republican Party in general, but MAGA more specifically, may be far from perfect. But in this either or dichotomy, the left-right spectrum that we have, there's just no other reasonable option. It just doesn't exist.
where you make them believe that it's based on the color of their skin. It's based on
DEIA is not.
It's based on merit. DEI emphasizes color, skin color,
No,
physical
it
attributes.
says that the people who work in your agency. It's about anti-discrimination.
Discrimination against what?
Exactly. Their
Against
race.
People who may have different
Or gender.
cultural mores, may have different.
But that's irrelevant to a
Cope harder, bro. Cope harder. Well, DEI is just like, we want to make sure that they're not taking away teaching slavery in schools. Like, no. Your question was on point. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
a job, right? It should be based on merit. And that is the emphasis
People
here.
get hired as a merit, but if the
Not
DEI,
if you get a
if the
tax
DEIA, I'm talking about Trump's rescission of
If
these
you
orders
received a
on
tax
these
cut as
agencies.
an employer, wouldn't you hire a person of color?
Dude,
If you could pay them less?
listen, we're talking about government agencies that do not get tax cuts. Government agencies,
They don't.
no,
Yes,
these are,
they do. They absolutely do.
I'm talking about
Every
parts of-
private and public sector gets tax cuts when you hire a person of color.
government agencies don't pay taxes. Government agencies are funded by the government.
That is not true. That is not true. And you know what? I think the whole juxtapose of this entire conversation.
What month is this?
This is January.
Okay, so we can agree on that.
Okay. So we said DEI is the same as ensuring only whites get jobs in the 50s. Maybe not that extreme, but, bad enough. Bad enough. Shout out to Oscar. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to assume you're talking about Sam Cedars' a great job spreading falsehoods and disinformation. He does, right? It's really, really bad. But we are here to right his wrongs, and I'm glad, Oscar, that you are here to fight the good fight. Thank you so very much for being here. Even Funkmaster's with it.
What month is this?
This is January.
Okay, so we can agree on that. The FDA does not pay taxes. It does not get a tax cut because it doesn't pay taxes. DEIA forces them as an agency to say, if you have a job opening, you must do your best efforts to make sure that every
I like that. I
part
love
of
me a
society.
buzzword. You must do your best effort. I love that buzzword.
Okay, pause.
Because you feel like you have to. You're pressured
Pause.
to.
Yes.
You shouldn't be pressured to hire someone based on skin color.
No, not to hire someone on skin color, but put up notice about that the job exists. Make sure that you put it in different communities so that you have as wide an application pool as possible.
And therefore you get
All
tax
right.
cuts.
All right, return
At
to your
the
seat.
end of the year when you file taxes, you get a tax cut for hiring someone who speaks a
Please
different
return to your
language or
seat.
different skin color.
I don't know how to.
Stop. That's bad. That's bad. At least that's what they said.
Respond to that.
The box. I'm genuinely. There we go. I was going to say genuinely interested in when you what did you say before? Well, this you definitely don't need to apologize for being white. This. Well, first it says a huge W, and then you said if everything is racist, make them profess it. They will stop soon enough. I'd love to see you to just elaborate a little bit more on what you actually mean. Not that I'm challenging you. I just don't fully understand what you mean. Monk said, I like seeing Sam get destroyed by his own immovability. That's a word, right? We know what you mean. I love it too. That's why, even though this is very likely going to get copyright claimed and maybe even blocked while we're live, I was like, we cannot miss this. I was being sarcastic. Glad you caught it. I was talking about you. Sam is right on the points he's exposing. Not expecting you morons to understand. All right. Well, you could articulate points, or you can call names. One will be more effective than the other. But you do you, boo boo.
So I want a little bit more clarification because I don't even know if we got it yet.
There you go.
Part benefits corporations.
That's where if you are ever in one of these positions where there is a prompt, whether it's change my mind or any of these things, ask for clarification first. Solastalgia said government agencies do not pay taxes. You guys know that, right? Basic knowledge. Yes, they don't pay taxes, but they get the and I don't know exactly how it works, but the amount of money they get is based on their demand. And that's still what we're talking about.
From your perspective.
So agencies, the U.S. government agencies, the vast majority of them, what they function to do is inhibit corporations from essentially externalizing their costs.
So sorry, just to tie a bow on that. What we're talking about when we're saying tax cuts for government agencies, we're just essentially saying a bigger budget.
Is inhibit corporations from essentially externalizing their costs onto society.
Sure.
So the example would be, I used it before, but it's a good one. I'm making Teflon, C8, for instance, okay? And C8 is supposed to be burned because instead of deposited, because it's a forever chemical. And I can go out and instead of burning it, it's too expensive to burn it, I'm going to dump it into a river. And the EPA.
Well, that's you already brought up the EPA. I was going to give him a how dare you. That's not very economic or environmentally friendly. Shout out to Poon Cooter. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. Yes, me. Well, yeah. I mean, he's not making fun. He's not making fun. He's just observing. And as we say, make fun and say whatever you want about the people on this screen. But in the chat, I would very much appreciate if where is it? Please keep the chat respectful. Attack ideas, not people. That's what losers do. Libby said they get paid based on hiring incentives and other things deemed worthy by government. DEI equals more money. Bingo. Yep. So yeah, I mean, tax cut is the wrong nomenclature, but we're just saying they're getting more taxes. Tax money that is coming from my pocket and going to them will be in a higher amount. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Burning it, it's too expensive.
But you are correct.
Expensive to burn it. I'm going to dump it into a river. And the EPA comes in and says, you can't do that. We're going to fine you. You're not allowed to do this. But what the company is doing when they do that is they're going to take the profits that come with lowering their costs by dumping it into the river. And those costs are then borne by everybody who lives around that river. They're going to get cancer. They're going to get gastrointestinal problems, whatever it is. And society bears the cost of that.
Can you connect the dots for me, though? Because it sounds like we're talking about something completely different.
Yep. And so the DEIA stuff is just the beginning of demoralizing these agencies and trying to wreck them from the inside. It's all part of Russell Vought's thing.
Wait. The agencies or the companies? He said
these agencies.
Yeah, but again, so he's positing that as a bad thing. We want to get rid of these agencies. We want to gut these agencies. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine to have that position and argue that position, but acting like it's an axiom that cutting government spending is a bad thing is begging the question. Box said, so what is going on the left right now is most have jumped ship. The rest are in disarray. Those remaining, there are those that have heard the people speak and are adjusting, Anna Kasparian, for example, and those that double down on the bad ideas that lost them the election. Sam is the former, but he's right here talking about how good DEIA is. So in what way is he in the jump ship or disarray? Or rather, yeah. So to use your words, in what way is he adjusting how he speaks? Because this is exactly the same stuff he was saying 6 months ago. Bog said, I'm sitting here watching a guy with no answers tell us what we already know. It's just the irony of the whole thing. I heard that. Hunkuner said, at Homs, just tell people my parents didn't really hug me when I was little. I disagree. I think it means I'm stupid. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, 6-1. Happens the other. So he says, when a company dumps crap in the river, that's when people of the area Christmas light the executives. Well, in the free market, but now people just feel like, well, the government will take care of it. Not that we want to do that, but I'm just saying, when people feel like the government's going to take care of everything, then there's no incentive to actually do anything or care about anything. Hey, shout out to Dixon Seder. Welcome to the party. Let's go. Sam Seder is such a tool. Yep. He's definitely in disarray. I'll agree with that. But what does he what's changed? Any film over on Rumble. So what the hell is this guy talking about? DEIA, which I don't know what the A stands for. I think he said accessibility or something, but I literally have never heard that before this. I don't even know what he's talking about. How is that East Palestine doing? Asking for a friend. Yep. Well, certainly I'm getting my use out of him.
Stuff is just the beginning of demoralizing these agencies and trying to wreck them from the inside. It's all part of like Russell Vote's thing, the OMB, the whole Schedule F, where they get rid of civil servants and they demoralize people and they don't want them to be able to function.
So correct. We do not want the dead aspects of the government that are just bureaucratic bullshit to be able to function. They already don't function, but we're paying them as if they do function. But since they don't function, we don't want them to get our money. Not very complicated.
So then would you agree if this is about demoralizing? I mean, over 75 million people voted for Trump, right? He won the popular vote. Mm-hmm. Do you not think that in part, you even said yourself that Americans don't really know what DEIA is, according to your definition of it?
Fucking Pete. Mayor Pete.
Well, the government's definition of it.
Okay, well, I would argue that the average American is demoralized by what they've seen, the way that the government goes about their DEI policies and the military and other organizations, not just the military.
Please return to your seat.
Okay.
Yep.
My next
shout out to David EO. Welcome to the party. Said, how do these agencies not function if they're preventing corporations from burdening their costs onto the public? How does agent? Well, they don't function in the way that we want them to function. They function very well at holding things up and not allowing corporations to do what they want to do. But you're definitely right. They're definitely sitting there twiddling their thumbs by a lot. It's just the function that we want them to do. They're not doing. But welcome to the party. Fox said Doge is fucked. Wake me up when they get to the military and the DOD. They start off at the smallest alphabet agencies. Yeah, you want to slow roll it, figure out what's good, make sure we're not cutting off, the muscle with the fat, and then figure out what's good. Solastalgia said, so no EPA, free market gonna fix pollution? You're goddamn right. They're goddamn right. No, the real question is the EPA actually fixing pollution? That's the point. That's the point. If we had no pollution, then I'd be perfectly fine with giving the EPA whatever they needed. But we have tons of it, as y'all love to harp on. The climate is changing, the global warming, all that stuff. But why then are we giving so much money to the EPA? Zippy said he's protecting corporations by allowing the EPA to regulate them to hide their pollution and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. These things don't operate or function the way that we as the people want them to function. And so the aspect of, oh, well, we need this. Do we though? Do we though? Nifilm said, hey buddy, we're not trying to demoralize them. We're trying to completely eliminate them. Every state has their own EPA. So yeah, we don't need a federal one. I didn't even know that. That is way more appropriate in my opinion. Wow, so the military has never passed an audit and they are looking at USAID, but you don't think that they're going to get there? You don't think they're going to get there? David said, how do they not function in the way that we want if the EPA is preventing 3M from dumping Velcro chemicals into the river? Because they are doing that. And they would want to do more, but they're allowed to, with the corruption that, I mean, obviously I'm not part of the EPA or 3M. I don't know the ins and outs, but as speaking generally, when you have a government agency there that is detached from the will of the people, then you can shift incentives. And now your 3M is beholden to the EPA as opposed to being beholden to the people. The corruptions or the corporations? Either way, yep, they do it all. Boom Cooter said, these kids did a really great job. As much as I abhor Mr. Seder, he's no joke as a debater. These youngins were fierce and fearless. Well said. Well said. It said, you'll have to provide evidence of the agencies not providing service to the public. How would capitalism solve the problem of corporations burdening the public with their costs? Because competition. So if the only way that you're getting low prices is by dumping shit into a river, and people, then we have actual journalism instead of just state media, and people actually cover that, then nobody's going to want to buy 3M stuff. So you're going to have to figure out a way to not only dump your shit in a place that is acceptable, but also keep your costs in line. The invisible hand of the market. All right, let's dive back in here.
Thanks again to Straight Arrow News for partnering with us on this episode. Now let's get into it.
My next claim is, unless you're a billionaire, a religious fundamentalist, or a xenophobic nationalist, voting for Trump was a mistake.
So you have to. So let's see the parameters here he's giving: a billionaire, a religious fundamentalist, or a xenophobic nationalist. Again, is being a xenophobic nationalist inherently a bad thing? And how far do you have to go before you are considered a xenophobic nationalist? Would you call me a xenophobic nationalist because I don't like illegal immigration? Something tells me he would. So again, we are starting on the back foot with bad faith prompts.
Okay, so let's tackle one aspect: religious fundamentalists. What benefit would religious fundamentalists get? And also, can you define what is a religious fundamentalist?
And maybe you could say more of like a Christian nationalist.
Okay.
So now you, within the first sentence, you're already going away from your own prompt.
In this instance, but things like, the attacks on trans folks, the attacks on a woman's right to choose, the idea that we're going to get stuff like an enhanced RFRA, which is going to mean that if you're a pharmacist and you don't want to provide birth control, you may not have to.
Don't you think you're assuming that
if you believe that public education we should take that money and pour it into religious schools, you're gonna get a benefit out of a Trump administration.
Yeah, but don't you think you're assuming that the vast majority of Americans who are moderates?
Like, what do you think you're gonna get out of the Trump administration?
Economic relief.
I was just gonna say more money in my pocket.
That was
What kind of economic relief? They're going to cut Social Security. You're going to have to pay for your parents. They're going to cut when they go after the agencies like they're going after, right? This is outlined in Project 2025. Russ Vought, who's going to be the OMB head, he was the OMB head the first time around. He wrote all the book on this stuff.
Okay, well, you bring up
when you cut agencies and go after them, and you fire all the inspectors.
Exactly. Whenever in any area of life you are down a bad road and you need to fix things, it's darkest before the dawn.
Generals, so that they're not being able to make sure that the agencies are working. Who do you think profits from that? It's corporations. They're going to go after agencies that make sure your food is not full of botulism, that your air is not full of mercury, that your water is not full of C8.
Yeah, because nobody in the world actually cares about breathable air, right? If we didn't have a government agency, we'd all just breathe whatever the fuck was out there.
Stupid. This is what they're going to do. Agencies exist to curb corporations from externalizing their costs and privatizing their profits. So it may be cheaper for a company to dump their chemicals into a river than it is for them to dispose of it in a safe way. And so they get the profits from that, but the costs are borne by society. They're borne by society in the form of, like, people get cancer.
Right. So that's already how things are, right? With a state and federal EPA. And so because we have a state and federal EPA, people have no interest in the environmental cost of these things because there is an assumption that the EPA is going to take care of it. And when the EPA doesn't care about people, they care about keeping things smooth, then that's where you get backroom deals, waste, fraud, and abuse.
They're borne by society in terms of, like, we've got to do the cleanup. That's what agencies do.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
That's good.
Yeah, that one was a good vote out. Whenever Sam is going too long, that's when you want to raise your flag, because again, by him always being the one speaking, he has so much more time to articulate his points. And so if you see somebody not really engaging and really pushing the moving the needle, so to speak, then vote them out. But otherwise, I really don't understand why they are so quick on the trigger. Where we at? Yeah. Funkmaster General said the military currently has bigger issues like shaking loose all of the transmission nonsense they let creep in. Fair. Box said he wants Sleeve to make his phone because it's cheaper. I will pay more. Thanks. I'll hold you to that. Zippy said agencies are corporate middlemen. Regulatory capture is a thing. Yep. Dixon said, watching Sam go on about how good government is makes me appreciate Malice's view more and more. Shout out to Michael Malice. Let's see, over on Rumble, Any Film said they never cut Social Security the first time around, and they're not cutting Social Security. They're not cutting Medicaid. They might fix them, but that's different from cutting. Infom said I was in Mexico the other day and it was literally raining mercury all over me. Wow. We got to get the EPA in there. It said, what do you mean the EPA doesn't care about people? What? Do you think the people at the EPA, when they go to work, they're like, oh, we got to make sure that the environment is great? Or do you think they have a stack of papers from a bunch of corporations that want to dump shit here and there and everywhere, and they want to make sure that they don't rock the boat? Because if you think it's the former, then that makes a lot of sense. But it's rather naive, in my personal opinion. Solastalgia said other countries like the social democracy. Other countries like the social democracies in Europe have less health risks and food and environmental pollution. Their government have more power. Well, that's a different country. Zippy said the 140-year-old is not getting checks is cutting, but they are part of USAID anyway. They do have real time. Any film said too bad they don't have real time fact checking. They do have real time fact checking, but they are on Sam's side, so they're only going to use it when it helps them.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
That's good. Hey, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so I would like to touch on the religious fundamentalist aspect.
Yeah.
Are you an atheist?
I'm a Reformed Jew. I don't have a strong belief in the existence of God, but I don't think that religion in and of itself is bad.
Okay, so what's wrong with religious fundamentalists? So like when you said trans.
No, we I don't know if you were, I don't know if that was here, but we looked that up, and even though the voter rolls or whatever you would call them are show that many people, those checks have not gone out.
Rights and women's rights or something like that?
Well, the problem I have with religious fundamentalists, and really more, I guess it's really theocrats, is that they want to impose their morality that comes from their religion.
Look what I just... Oh, can I not zoom this in? If you know, you know.
Theocrats is that they want to impose
can't get
their morality that
enough.
comes from their religion on the rest of us. And I don't.
But morality, from your view, is going to be a preference, right? It's not morality; it's a preference.
What's
so morality without a foundation is going to reduce you to a preference.
Well, I have a foundation for my morality,
which is what?
It's a humanist vision of what basically creates as little suffering as possible for as many people.
Okay, so you're like a consequentialist, utilitarian.
And this is why atheists are failing. We need to be better at articulating why there is at least the possibility of a secular moral structure. But this motherfucker don't know shit about shit.
Okay, so you're like a consequentialist?
This is exactly how DebateCon went with any of the religious stuff. That all the non-religious people were stuck making arguments from 2005. It's like, bro, that's not enough. That's not enough. I don't believe in a God, but I very clearly understand that a society needs a moral structure. And just do good because it's good is not a moral structure.
Utilitarian?
I don't really bother myself with being a consequentialist or a utilitarian.
It's always going to reduce you to a preference. So if you say that killing is wrong and I say it's right, you would really have no contention with that.
Well, no, I don't base my understanding of civil society on religion. And so we have a civil society. Okay. We have laws that we have decided as a society in a democratic way. And for some people, it's okay for it to be informed by their religion. That's okay.
Okay, perfect. So if tomorrow society comes together and we say, hey, trans folks don't deserve rights, you would be okay with that?
No, I would be against it, but I mean, it would be
morally right under your
not
view.
Morally right. No. I'm not talking about morals.
Okay.
Here.
That was the discussion. Where do you find right and wrong? Morality.
But I mean, it would be
morally right under your
not
view.
Morally right. No. I'm not talking about morals.
Okay,
here.
so here's where I'm getting to, right? Religious foundations provide an ethical framework for one to live their life off.
I believe you can have an ethical framework without religion.
And if we take the leftist view to its logical tail end, to its extreme view, you have low reproductive birth rates. You have a reproductive dead end. So two men together can't reproduce unless they have to take from a healthy straight couple. Religion provides this foundation where you do prioritize the nuclear family.
So do you have a problem with gay people being married?
It's not that I have a problem.
Oh, you're bigger now. I got you. Bugs is saying I'm a utilitarian too, but I can own that. I think that, I would be more comfortable talking about, rule utilitarianism, where there is, the underlying foundation is utilitarian, but the aspect of individual liberties supersedes that. And so the notion that it would be better for humanity, it would be of the greatest utility for us to kill off the bottom 10% of whatever category you want to pick. That would be better for the human race. But because it infringes on people's individual liberties, that is not even close to an option. And so and this is what I talk about when we discuss being an atheist and being somebody who is on the right, being someone who is respectful of religion and what it does, and not a hedonist like so many other atheists. It needs to be understood. You have to understand, where do you get these ideas from? Otherwise, it's just vibes, bro. Funkmaster said, isn't Sam supposed to be a modern thought leader? Yep. So we make the rules and run the experiment, kind of like Fallout, but different. We're going to leave that to you, gamers. David, since when are you against infringing on individual liberties? Since always. Are you not against infringing on individual liberties?
I just don't see a justification for why they ought to be gay outside of it just feels good. Can you give me another justification for it?
Well, I think maybe that's the way they were born.
Okay.
The correct answer is no. I don't need to give you another answer for that. If they want to do it because it feels good, then they are allowed to do that. This is America. Jack. He can't even make his own arguments. The layup argument.
Can you give me another justification for it?
Well, I think maybe that's the way they were born.
Okay. What about pedophiles? Are they born that way?
They may be, yeah.
Okay. So should we let a pedophile off the hook since they are born that way?
No, I think we as a society has decided.
Should implement duties to prevent them from acting on that innate urge, correct?
Well, I think.
Which, connect the dots for me here. What individual liberty is being infringed by not having pornographic books in school libraries? Genuine question. What is because no, I'm not, but if you can demonstrate to me that not having pornographic books in children's school libraries is infringing on liberties. Now, if we're talking about banning the book, then you might have an argument, but it's on Amazon. So if you can tell me how that infringes on an individual liberty, then I'll say, hey, I was wrong. You were right. Let's go show all the kids sucking dick and dirty tampons. But I don't think you can do that.
No, I think we as a society has decided.
Should implement duties to prevent them from acting on that innate urge, correct?
Well, I think between consenting adults, it's a different thing than.
Okay, so you're okay with a 45-year-old dad with a 19-year-old daughter as well? Incest.
No.
If they consent, you're okay with that?
No, I think society has also determined that it's like it's not beneficial.
Right. There's duties and obligations that we have. So religion provides those duties. Life isn't about freedom and exercising what you want.
I mean, well, you want to impose your religious doctrine on me, and I don't want that.
You just admitted we need duties. We have responsibility as society to keep us functioning, to keep us thriving. Your left is.
I mean, again, guys, like I am somebody who cares about the scientific development of a child's brain, which we empirically know is not appropriate at that age to be seeing the things that are in genderqueer. This book is gay. The Gay BCs, The Bluest Eye. What any of these fucking gay ass books? You know exactly what it is. You know exactly why people don't like it, but you think, well, this is a winning issue for me when it's not. People have overwhelmingly rejected this. Overwhelmingly. Who am I? I'm just some fuck. But when you're a parent and you are a voter who has kids in a school, then you have those rights. Absolutely. You have the right for your child to not be exposed to things that are not appropriate for them. And I mean, again, you can go ahead and say that the schools and the government should have more rights over a child than their parent. But I don't think that's going to help you. I don't think that helps you. So what was the right that was being infringed? What was that right? I asked you, but I don't think I got an answer. I got another question. So again, I'll ask you, David, what is the right that is being infringed upon when pornographic books are not allowed in a school library but are allowed to be sold on the market? What right is being infringed? What right is being infringed? Now, I've said that a bunch of times, so don't get mad when I ignore everything that you don't answer my question, because every time you've asked a question, I've answered your question. So I'd appreciate that same level of respect.
Admitted, we need duties. We have responsibility as society to keep us functioning, to keep us thriving. Your leftist view, the liberal view, doesn't provide anything besides it just makes me feel good. Religion does. So what's your argument?
What's my argument as to why I don't want
You have no
your
contention.
religion?
You are not telling me. The right is X. Tell me that. Put it like I'm so stupid that I can't possibly get it unless you spell it out for me. Maybe I'm just that dumb. The right that's being infringed is blank. You tell me that and we can continue this conversation. Otherwise, you're just fucking spinning your own wheels.
It does. So what's your argument?
What's my argument as to why I don't want
You have no
your
contention.
religion to? Well, because the other, first of all, I don't think that you have the right to corner what God is telling us is right or wrong.
So if the parent, okay, the right to raise the children how a parent sees fit. Does that have any limits or no? Is that just unlimited, or are we saying that whatever a parent wants to do, as long as they see it's fit, that's okay? Sure, parent can decide if they want to see an R-rated movie. So again, the question being, as whatever the parent sees fit, that's what should be. Yes or no?
And there are differences between religions. And so my argument is, you know, like, you're not going to keep halal or kosher, right? I mean, I don't
Well, according to David, if you see it fit, then of course.
believe that someone has a corner on religious truth. And the reason why we have a democracy is because we didn't want a king. And the kings came from the idea that their God said that they're the ones who's supposed to be king. And so we can disagree on this. I don't want to live in a country that is ruled by religious fundamentalism.
And if I do, you have no issue with that.
And no. And this is why I say, under Trump, yes, you have won.
Yes.
You have a
Only
bunch
male
of
and
Christian,
female. You're right.
you have a Christian
One.
nationalist,
Yes,
and
which is necessary.
And so I
He set up a prompt that said, well, if you want these things, then vote for Trump. And we're all just like, yeah, we want those things. I'll also, you know, obviously point out the obvious that going to a movie is not a government thing. Schools are, at least public schools, are a government thing. So when you're talking about the government, it's different than just going out. And like I said, I would also have an issue if the book was not available to be purchased and it was banned. I would have a problem with that. But that's not the case. Would you allow a Hustler magazine in a school library? So okay, the question being anything the parent sees fit. David said, of course not. You aren't allowed to murder your child, but you don't get to decide what book, movie, game, or whatever is right for my child. I'm not. I'm just saying it's not appropriate based on the standards of the state. You are allowed to go on Amazon and buy that book. You are allowed to go into Barnes & Noble if they decide to carry it and buy that book. Nobody is telling you that you can't show that book to your child. Nobody is telling you that you can't show that book to your child. I don't care. Again, would you be okay with a permission slip for a kid to look at a Hustler magazine? I don't see a difference. So if you're consistent and you say, yes, we should be showing 7-year-olds Hustler magazines, as long as the parents say it's okay, then fine. Agree to disagree. But I don't think you're consistent on this. So let's see. What do you think about the Hustler? I'm allowed to give interest right, but you shouldn't be allowed to. The government shouldn't be allowed to provide that access. That is the issue. Public libraries. If you want to go and buy it, go and buy it. Nobody is stopping you. When it is in a government facility, it is then accepted by the government. The government is there's only so many books that can fit in a school library. And so the books that make that cut are checked off and said, A-okay for children by the government. And according to you, it's what the parents should think. And I don't know about you. I've never, ever, and I don't have kids, so, you know, maybe it's a new thing, but I've never heard of whatchamacallit, what'd you say? Fucking permission slips to use the library. Parents, help me out here. Have you gotten any permission slips about your children's libraries, or am I off base here? Shout out to equality and deference because vagina. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. I said specifically that I personally have not seen it. Listening is important. We want to listen to the words that I say. And I just asked, any other parents want to say that you've had this experience? Then I'll be like, oh, okay. Then I see that experience.
Male and female, you're right.
You have a Christian nationalist,
Yes,
and
which is necessary.
And so I concede the point that under Trump, your Christian nationalism has gained an advantage
Yes.
under this.
Sorry, we're going to
And
have
so
more kids. We're going to have less abortions. We're going to have more family. We're going to have stable family households. Sorry about better
Trans
education.
people, gay people should be
They
outlawed.
should be straight. They should be straight.
Women should be secondary to their husbands.
Women should submit to
Right?
the husbands.
Women.
We're talking the issue with specifically genderqueer was not about high schools. It was about elementary schools. So I'll go back again to the question. Do you have an issue with given a permission slip, a elementary school student getting access to a Hustler magazine through the school library? Yes, that is okay for Hustler, or no, that is not okay for Hustler.
They
They should be straight. They should be straight.
Women should be secondary to their husbands.
Women should submit
Right?
to the husbands.
Women
That doesn't
should
mean they,
submit to the
that doesn't mean they are
husbands.
slaves.
Right,
It doesn't
no,
mean they
no,
are.
I
It means
understand.
they are
I
protected.
understand. You
Okay,
gotta
let me ask
have-
you. Let me ask you.
No.
Should
I
women be
believe-
drafted?
listen,
Should women be
listen,
drafted?
Listen, I think,
Good question.
If they're equal, should they be drafted?
I think this is the vision that you.
What do you mean making up a scenario? Do you think I made up the book Genderqueer being in schools? The fuck are you talking about? Well, like I said, I hated this part of the debate. Instead of having any information to refute what the guy says, Sam just continues to make a caricature of what he thinks about him. That is the playbook. That's the playbook.
You have, and I think Trump supports it.
Yes.
I think the Christian nationalists he has throughout his government are all going to work towards your vision.
Yes.
And my hope is that when people look at this, they say, hey, wait a second. I don't want my life to be dictated by the notion of a Christian nationalist prescription. Now, you may win out. I mean, certainly, like if you look at a country like Iran, they have a theocracy there.
Beth, who's that? I'm not familiar.
And apparently that's, good for them if they want it.
My final point is whenever
but
we
I don't want to live in a
my final point is
theocracy.
whenever we see people live out Christian values to its full extent, we see a great society. When we
Right. I'm not making it up. Hustler exists, and I'm asking you a question because, in my personal opinion, there is no difference in the level of appropriateness between a Hustler magazine and genderqueer. So again, I will ask you the question. Stop answering my questions with a question. Are you okay, given a permission slip, a elementary school giving children a Hustler magazine? Yes, you are okay with that, or no, you're not okay with that.
we see people deviate from that, that's where all the problems arise.
All right.
I
pause.
think you are at home in the Trump. Trump
Thank you
world.
very much.
You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Forget about morning, guys. You're getting hungry.
Sorry, guys. I think I have an issue with the implications of the prompt. I mean, of course, I'll stick on the religious fundamentalism. I think it's unfair to view Christianity separated from the ideology that Christianity informs, right? You have an ideology that you vote upon because you view it to be the truth that benefits everyone in a society. That's how a democracy works.
Begging the question. You are saying it's irrelevant. I am making the claim that it's not irrelevant, that they are both not appropriate. And so you're saying if something is not appropriate, it should be okay with a permission slip. So I've brought up another thing that is inappropriate in the same exact vein. I believe both are pornographic, and you are saying one is okay, but one is not. Why then? Why is the Hustler not okay? It's almost like I had a bigger idea here. Oh my God, big brain, galaxy brain over here. Gonzag said, David, society shouldn't have a say on whether or not children drink or get tattoos either.
I, as a Christian, have an ideology that informs my opinion.
Not trying to do that. Again, I think I've said this 5 times now. It's available on Amazon. If you would like to buy it on Amazon, go buy it on Amazon. I'm not making any decisions for any children. I'm making a decision based on what I think is appropriate for the state, the government to promote. That is what I'm doing. You can misunderstand it and say the same stupid thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But I've already said this is not the case. You may be too dumb to understand what I'm saying. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It just means you're too dumb to understand what I'm saying.
and I believe
Moving
it is the most
on.
moral and correct way for a society to function. So I think if we put religious fundamentalism in a box where you say any moral implications that I draw from this, religion,
Because you're not answering my question.
is unable to be voted upon, unable to be pushed onto you because simply it's a religion, is
Not very funny. As soon as you answer my question, I'll answer yours, as I've been doing this entire time.
unfair to view it that way. Religion is an ideology like all ideologies are. It's you vote away.
I don't mind you. I don't dispute the idea that you could have a religious ideology and want to see it imposed upon.
Wait a minute. Are you saying genderqueer has this? Oh, yes, of course it does. Of course you would want to show this to children. You fucking disgusting creep.
The idea that you could have a religious.
And then you want to turn around and be like, oh, well, even though religion isn't true, everybody is so stupid for thinking that we need some moral structure. This is why you are going to continue to lose. You are out of touch. You are in your own, your head is up your ass. You think you are better than people when you are just not. You are wrong. Take the L. People have voted.
You vote away.
I don't mind you. I don't dispute the idea that you could have a religious ideology and want to see it imposed upon others, and it's not inconsistent with my claim. My claim is that Donald Trump is ushering in an element of Christian theocracy that I can't remember his name, and you may be excited about, but I'm not excited about it. I don't think the vast majority of Americans are, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I don't think this country was set up to be a theocracy, and I find it problematic that it will be, but others will be happy about it.
I think it's unfair as well to label any morals that comes from religion inherently immediately.
Projection. Oh, I needed that. Thank you. Oh, wait. Whoa. Projection. Oh. Projection. Look in a mirror, bro. Yikes.
I think it's unfair as well to label any morals that comes from religion inherently immediately theocratic. Like having a theocracy is something different than having.
I think love thy neighbor is a good precept, and I don't know that we should necessarily legislate it, but I think it's a good precept. Cool. I think there are things from religion that are good. Yeah. I interviewed
I didn't realize that it does that when I do screenshots. I'm having a little.
Desmond Tutu years ago who said that religion can be. Is like a knife. It can be used to spread butter or it could be used to stab people. But that doesn't mean that I want religious doctrine to be the same as the law of the land. We have a democracy, and it was founded on trying to get out from some type of like religious oppression, which means one religion shouldn't dominate in this country. That's my sense.
Yeah, and I see that, but I think I have an issue.
Hold on, sorry. Give me 1 second here. Okay.
With where
shouldn't dominate in this country. That's my sense.
Yeah, and I see that, but I think I have an issue with where you would perceive religious doctrine is derived from, right? A guy doesn't, at least in Christianity.
He's so dumb. He's so dumb. He's so dumb. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Agreed.
The guys
Actually, no, not agreed. You think the government should have no stance on? Okay, dude. Again, I'm fine to agree to disagree. You're okay with showing pornographic filth to children, and I'm not. That's okay. It's okay that you have a terrible, yeah. That's the principal position. Showing scat to children. Not agreed, but I will agree that we definitely disagree on this. So the sad thing is that Sam's point on religion, being like a knife, applies to all his beliefs as well, and he doesn't even consider it. Sad. It's sad. And I mean, the FMG, oh man. And that's the point. We saw it before when the other guy was trying to ask him about where his morality comes from. He's just like, well, I'm not talking about morals. But he asked you about your morals. He's just not smart enough to do this. And I think it was you who said it, but somebody said it, that he is good at being a debater, but that isn't valuable unless there's substance to what you're actually saying.
You would perceive religious doctrine is derived from, right? A guy doesn't, at least in Christianity, a guy doesn't go in a room and come out and say that he is a secret message from God that everyone now has to follow. Religious doctrine is grueled over, it's reasoned over, the same way any ideology is discovered.
I'm not talking about the validity of religious doctrine.
Right.
I'm talking about religious doctrine supplanting democracy and civil society.
And I'm saying that religious doctrine is democratic inherently, and in the way that you.
Well, I
earlier-
mean, look, we can have a debate as to whether or not women should be subservient to men. I don't think they should be,
Right.
and in a democracy, I don't think it's healthy.
Right, but when you said earlier with him that someone shouldn't have I don't know the exact word, like a chokehold on what is, religious truth and what isn't religious truth. That's not how religious truth itself works, and that's not how religious truth is brought to the political table to have that work either, right?
I don't know. When Pete Hegseth is in a bar yelling, we're going to kill all Muslims.
Well, that's, yeah.
Calling a difference said, I have an objection to the inflection to your projection. I apologize. I'll try to do better next time.
I mean, well, yeah, but now he's in charge of the largest military in the history of the
Sure.
world. And I think, and he's informed by his Christian nationalism. I think that's a problem.
Right. Well, but
we
we
can
don't-
disagree on
Yeah,
that.
we
All
don't
right,
take.
pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Thanks,
Please
Sam.
return to your seat.
Pause. So again, we're still on this prompt. If you are, according to Sam, a billionaire, religious fundamentalist, or a xenophobic nationalist, which we haven't gotten a definition on, and it could very well just mean not wanting to give blanket immunity to all illegal immigrants. We don't know. Nobody's asked. No, you're the best at quality. You're the best.
Okay, so Eleazar mentioned his views on gay marriage, and I saw that you believe that essentially conservatives don't believe that gay marriage should be allowed. I want to ask everybody in this room, is there any law or legislation that Donald Trump has passed to prohibit same-sex marriage in the last 4 years?
Wasn't he the first president that actually came into office being in favor of gay marriage?
Okay. Is there anyone in here who would potentially oppose two people kissing in public that are of the same sex? You could raise your hand if you want. Yes, in public, kissing in public. No law against it. Just your own opinion. Okay, so these are all people's opinions, right? The same way you have your opinions about Christians is the same way these people are
No,
allowed.
I don't have a problem with Christians.
Well, you do not believe that theology should be at its
We should not have a theocracy.
Correct. And so what I'm saying is, I think that Christianity, I'm a Catholic. I think that Christianity is, fundamentally very important to instill family values in myself as well as every person who wants to have children. Now, let's talk about...
I'm okay with that too.
Let's talk about Order 14,166. That is an executive order that Donald Trump just imposed on identifying what is male and female. So I personally believe, as well as many transsexuals, friends of mine, believe that a woman is a biological female, as well as a man being a biological male.
Yeah, and notice the important part there, that not only do you say his trans friends, transsexual friends, they do not like this gamification of what they see as their identity. Now, we could talk about whether that is a meaningful difference on this side of the aisle, but the point is that there is, even in the LGBTQP whatever community, they're like, the queer thing is just kind of a thing for the straights to come in and take our shit, right?
You are assigned what you are at birth. You are not assigned your gender later on. What you choose to express is something that is similar to wearing a garment, similar to what you decide to put on your face. And I don't think there should be laws or legislations dictating people or imposing laws to manipulate children, for example, to castrate their bodies. That is.
Yup. Like I said, not wanting your children to be able to see pornographic material in public school is helicopter parenting now? Apparently. So, call me a helicopter parent then. Oh no! I'm so weird. I don't want to show children scat and dirty blowjobs and fucking adult and child blowjobs and dirty tampons. Oh, I'm so weird. Fine, call me weird then, man. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I could lie to you and you know, be like you and say the things that I think people will make people like me. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say the things that I think, and you can not agree with them. Nobody is forcing you to be here. I don't even know why you would want to be here, but you know, I am beautiful, so.
Or imposing laws to manipulate children, for example, to castrate their bodies at such a young age. There, 50% of
Do
children.
you know how many children are treated over the past 5 years?
Too many
Let's say, I think it was from 2018 to 22. There was a study that just came out from Harvard.
Mhm.
Do you know how many children received gender affirming care, but
too many
broken down into puberty blockers and then hormones?
Give me the numbers.
You tell me. I'm curious.
Well,
because,
I'm curious because you're bringing it up.
No, I have the numbers.
Okay, tell me.
I do.
Then yeah, so if you're clear bad faith, well, I want to get an own on you, so I know a number. You're saying you don't know a number, and you're being honest here and saying that you don't know the number. But I'm going to ask you a number that I know you don't know because I know it, and you weren't allowed to know what we were talking about or able to look anything up. So I'm better than you. Okay, dude.
Give me the numbers.
You tell me. I'm curious.
Well,
because,
I'm curious because you're bringing it up.
No, I have the numbers.
Okay, tell me.
I do, but
Tell
I'm
me.
curious if you know.
Tell me what the
I
numbers are.
promise to tell you after you tell me what you think it
I'm not
is.
gonna. I'm not gonna.
I
play
love
that
it
game.
because I have a feeling
not
you
playing this
think it's-
game.
No, I am playing this game.
There you go. He is playing this game. He is not here in good faith. He's not here to understand. He's not here to spread his beliefs. He is here to get clips. He is here to play a game.
I'm not gonna
I
play
love
that game.
it because I have a feeling
not
you
playing this
think it's
game.
no, I am playing this game because
Why?
I think you think it's much higher. When you tell me that kids are being castrated, I know you don't really know what these numbers are.
He said he doesn't know. That's not a win, bro. When somebody says, I don't know. That was like when fucking who was the fucking voice changer dude? Who was like, do you believe morality is subjective? I said, yes. See? Like, wait, I told you that. I told you that. That's not a thing. I just answered a question. You don't that's not anything. I know you think you did a thing, but you didn't do a thing.
You tell me that kids are being castrated. I know you don't really know what these numbers are. And I do know these numbers.
Okay, well, I can tell you this much.
What?
It was reported that scientifically, every single child who has received gender affirming care, about roughly 50% of them regret it. And 50% of them are suicidal because of it. They're actually more depressed.
And of course, now we get the fact check. It says studies on the subject often suffer from researcher bias and methodological errors, including inadequate follow-up, imprecise measurement, and poorly chosen sample bases. Doctors agree more research is needed. Well, wow. Shout out to SAN or whoever this is for a helpful fact check.
50% of them regret it. And 50% of them are suicidal because of it. They're actually more depressed because of it.
How many of those kids? How many?
A psychologist,
How
by
many
the way.
over the course of 5 years?
Well, tell me.
You tell me.
Tell me.
Just give
I
me
know
a
what you're trying to
ballpark.
do. You're trying to put me in this choke.
If he wants to do if you want to do this and say, well, I know, but I want to hear what you think. I'll tell you. I just want to gauge what your ballpark, like where you are. That's a fair question. That's a fair question. But when you're doing it like this, you lose any credibility.
Chokehold of like,
No, I'm
I
not trying
got
to
you
put you in a
moment.
No, this is definitely an I got you
No.
moment because I'm suggesting to you that you think this problem is much bigger than
It is a huge problem.
Okay.
Medi-Cal, you know, Medi-Cal covers
So fine. So this is where, again, you need to be able to concede on points that don't matter. Okay, fine. Maybe it is the fact that I think it is way more than it is. Does that make the smaller number any better? No, Sam, it doesn't. So if I think that it's 1,000 people and you're saying, no, it's only 250 people. Okay, then the problem is just a little bit smaller than I thought it was. That's it. That's it.
because I'm suggesting to you that you think this problem is much bigger than
It is a huge problem.
Okay.
Medi-Cal, Medi-Cal covers inmate trans women.
I understand that, yes. And I know one person has had that surgery.
I don't understand how.
Sorry, Funk, but we do have the banner updated to reflect our sponsor. Guys, don't forget about Morty over here. We are halfway there. There's only less than 10 minutes left. Let's get him his peanut butter, guys. You know how much he loves it.
I understand that, yes. And I know one person has had that surgery.
I don't understand how my taxes should go for an inmate prisoner who wants to transition.
Well, I think because we got to do health care for prisoners, and you don't consider it real health care. But hold on, I don't want to get
imposed $2.6 billion
it's 900 kids over 5 years.
That is a lot of children.
There you go. There you go. So you can concede. Yeah, I probably think it's too much, but either way, any number other than 0, it's a problem. Bingo. Contact said, parenting your child means you would actively keep them away from material like Watchmen and Hustler. David is making an argument for bad parenting, and that is all. Yup. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to say that, David, you are not entitled to this opinion. I just don't agree with you. You're trying to act as if your opinion is the only opinion that could be. I just don't agree. I'm not saying anything other than I understand your opinion and I have a different opinion. And you're getting triggered as fuck. Like, chill the fuck out. Take a Xanny. It's going to be okay. I promise you. Suck your thumb if you need to. It's going to be okay.
Has imposed $2.6 billion
it's 900 kids over 5 years.
That is a lot of children.
Puberty blockers.
That is a lot of children.
900
AB
kids over 5 years.
547 just passed, including gender identity to allow children.
The rest of y'all could fucking remind me, though. Someone said, children see Watchmen because parents don't parent. Nobody decided. They just didn't do their job. What's the difference? The difference is that the job of some of the school implies that showing genderqueer is the job. Yup. Boyfriend. I thought we had a thing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Including gender identity to allow children to be separated from their parents just due to not affirming their gender identity.
So because kids die in accidents, then we should allow them to self-delete.
What? But here's the point. Listen, Trump is, how is he hurt?
Fact check. Data compiled by Reuters and the health technology company Komodo found that from 2017 to 2021, 4,780 adolescents started puberty blockers and had a gender dysphoria diagnosis. A new study from JAMA Pediatrics found that only 0.1% of young patients in the study were transgender and prescribed Only 0.1% of young patients in the study were transgender and prescribed puberty blockers or hormone therapy. That's an odd sentence. So you're saying only 0.1% of them were actually transgender? That's a weird way to phrase that. No, not at all. Quality said is a where am I? Quality said is a transsexual, a person who used trans fats as lube. Good one. Oh, you leave it already? All right, Quality. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out. You have a good one.
Gender identity.
But here's the point. Listen, Trump is, how is he hurting these people? He just rescinded the ability of the Labor Bureau to investigate discrimination in workplace. Are you for trans people being discriminated in workplace?
They're never being discriminated.
Are you for trans people being discriminated with housing?
I'm very passionate about that question, and can I answer it? Okay, so I believe that affirmative action should be.
It's not affirmative action.
Oh, then what is it?
It's anti-discrimination. That's not saying.
So amazing. Obfuscation.
Regardless, hire trans people.
Okay, don't give me false hope, Jaden. Don't you give me false hope.
You can't fire someone when you find out they're trans.
Okay, well, hold on a minute. So when you hire someone or when you interview someone, for example, you are supposed to interview them based on their knowledge and their work ethic, not based on sex.
I'm not saying affirmative
based
action.
on their sexual
Are you
orientation.
allowed to fire them if you find out they're trans?
Why would that even be a thing? Like,
If you need to, then you should. If you need to, then you
So
should.
we have a disagreement. I don't believe people should be discriminated against.
but as he brought up with the military, it's not because of the fact that they're trans. It's a byproduct of, since you are trans, this, that, and any other comes into play. And there's plenty of industries that have a visual aspect or a body type aspect. So what are you even trying to say? No, the "it's ma'am" guy is not going to get hired at Hooters. Sorry. It doesn't fit with the business model. James, I'm giving you false treatment. I was being nice. I know, but hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, I said, David, you're talking about what a parent chooses to show versus what schools are required to provide. There's a big difference. Parents have rights to their children, but schools don't. Well, that's what David wants. The school to be able to decide over the parent.
And that's not discrimination. It's based on your knowledge, not what you sleep with, not who you sleep with. Just saying.
Hi.
Sam.
So I actually think that this
I mean, if you know a good girl, like, let's go.
liberal world order needs to be thrown away completely. And I think Christian nationalism would be a good alternative. What we're seeing right now is
And
just
congratulations.
and
Right. Exactly, dude. Exactly. You're framing the things that you don't agree with as inherently bad when these people agree with the things. You're not making a good argument. You're just saying, I don't like that, and here I'm going to provide why I don't like that. Sorry, Sam. Nobody gives a flying fuck what you think when it comes to what our laws should be. Just because you don't like it, that's not an argument as to make to change the laws.
Thank you. And yeah, I think what we're seeing right now is a culture of death. This is the most suicidal generation ever. We have millions of children dying by abortion.
Nope. I need a good girl. Chill. Don't even know what the fuck she's up to because she just spends her time at home, hanging out, scrolling through TikTok. That's it. I don't need no crazy bitches. That's why I've stopped dating, because these fucking crazy bitches. Guys, so 2 minutes left. We are halfway there. Let's get Morty some peanut butter. Come on, guys. We can do
This
it.
is the most suicidal generation ever. We have millions of children dying by abortion.
Why are you raising a flag while she's saying this?
People aren't even reproducing. We don't even have like a.
Should we mandate
That's all you, homie.
people reproduce?
No, I don't think we need to mandate. We can just stop them from killing their kids. There
So
are like.
you want to outlaw abortion?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, we have a fundamental disagreement on this, and my claim was that if you voted for Trump,
I'm actually okay with that because I think that's going to further push people, or not push people away, but further normalize religion being in the background and it just being a part of people's life that doesn't actually really drive their behaviors as much, like we have with the Church of England. So I'm okay with that. Post the 10 Commandments, post the Bible, post pictures of shame these children for not being Catholic enough. That is the best way to get people away from the stupidity of dogma. Of course I dated before. What do you mean? I'm 35. I've had girlfriends. I've had, you know what I mean? I'm just, I'm at a stage in my life where I'm not trying to deal with crazy bitches. So you find a good one, I'll take her out, but I ain't going on like the apps and shit and fuck that. I mean, back in the days when people still like went out and stuff, then, that was a little different. So I got that, as the kids say, the riz, the skibbity riz. But yeah, being a short brown guy on the abs, it just don't work.
Fundamental disagreement on this, and my claim was that if you voted for Trump, it would be to your benefit if you want to outlaw abortion.
I think it would benefit everyone.
Yeah, I disagree. I think that women should have the right to choose.
I think that it would benefit everyone to bring back the family unit, to stop having women just thrown into the workforce.
Maybe we shouldn't allow women
I'm in.
to choose to divorce unless their husbands say it's okay.
I mean, I don't really believe in divorce in general, so like, sure.
All right. I mean, this
And again, another perfect example of just not understanding the other side. Like, yes, these people don't believe in divorce at all. So when you narrow it down and you say, well, what about in this scenario? They don't believe that divorce is a thing that should exist. It's mind-boggling how you could be this far along in a career in this industry and just not understand people at all.
I mean, I don't really believe in divorce in general, so like, sure.
All right. I mean, this I think though reinforces my point that that if you are,
But it would be better for
If you are somebody who likes Trump, then you're gonna like Trump. That's his prompt. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's why we voted for him.
society. It
Christian
would be better for
theocrat, then
everybody
you
in
would be
society.
happy.
And same with xenophobic national. Like, what's the problem with xenophobic nationalism? Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
That's what I was saying from the beginning. What? Let's get an actual definition. What is xenophobic nationalist in the eyes of Sam Seder? Because if being a xenophobic nationalist just means that you don't want illegals pouring over the border, then you're goddamn right. I'm a xenophobic nationalist in those terms.
And same with xenophobic national. Like, what's the problem with xenophobic nationalism? Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
To be xenophobic
yes.
nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant.
She's like 20. What do you mean choose what the culture is? Are you... I don't even know what to say because it's so obviously one of those things that you just say if you don't have a grounding in the fact that there already is an American culture. Some 20-year-old girl is not deciding shit about what American culture is. And you know that, Sam. You know that.
The same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture
What is
based
the
on
dominant
European
culture?
and Christian values and identity. That is a dominant culture.
White
It's
Christian-
rooted in European identity.
White. So you're
Yeah, Matthew said if they banned abortion and no-fault divorce, I believe people would stop just hooking up and possibly settle down. I mean, and it might take a generation. It might take a generation. I think millennials are fucked. I think Gen Z is fucked in terms of there being a culture of monogamy and the nuclear family and all that stuff. I think maybe the Zoomers are young enough, but I think millennial, like I'm 35. I'm 35. These bitches ain't changing. But yeah, for future generations, I feel like that is definitely a direction that we need to go. And I mean, you know, having like going back to where you need to actually have, you know, some legal aspect to a divorce. I don't necessarily know if we need to go that far. There are legitimate reasons within what I would there are what I would consider legitimate reasons where you're like, I didn't know what I was getting into with this marriage and I want to get out of here. I don't have a legal reason, but those should be far and few between. And again, this is where public opinion and social norms and shame and taboos come into account. It used to be after we got no-fault divorce, it was very shameful to be divorced. That is how society should work. Hey, a shout out to Dietrich. Welcome to the party. So the reason that this grifter and anyone on the left is okay with divorce and abortion is because it's a lot easier to dump your problems than actually work on yourself and the situation you seem to fail, recognizing your own problems and moral standings. Well said. Welcome to the party. Dilly to you, sir. Matthew said there should be a legit reason, though. Not I just changed my mind. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. How we iron that out, I don't necessarily know, but conceptually, I don't think that you should have to have a legal reason. I do think it should be some type of process. There should be some barrier to just, you know, as Dietrich said, just dumping your problems away instead of working on yourself and your situation.
is an identity. That is a dominant culture.
White
It's rooted in
Christians-
European identity.
White, so your argument is
That
that
has been the dominant culture.
just to be
and
clear-
we're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you
Your-
should keep your culture, and this is why our culture is so divided.
your argument is that Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, white, not necessarily. Again, obsessed with race, but just the American culture that is based on European and Christian values. Yes, that is what we want. You can keep framing it as a bad thing, but we just don't think that. And the shame that you're trying to dispel. It's not going to work anymore. Maybe 10 years ago, just like your arguments against God, which pissed me off as an atheist, but just like that, you're stuck in the past. You're stuck in ideas that were relevant 20 years ago. It's not, radical. Just say, no, you should speak English when you come to America. No, you should care about our national anthem. You should care about our flag. You should care about these things of our country. If you come here.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in European identity and Christian values. That's what it has been.
There you go.
Like, would you really disagree with that? What is it then if that's not the identity of America?
Asking
I think
and again, with somebody like Sam Seder, asking pointed questions and keeping them on topic is a very good tactic.
the identity of
For the
America.
majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
So you guys know the melting. What in the fuck is on my face? You guys have, fondue. Fondue is a melting pot, right? Whether you've been to the actual restaurant, the melting pot, or you just are aware of fondue. When you put the stuff in the fondue, it all stays separate, right? Or wait, does it all melt together and all become one thing together, aka assimilation? Even so, but even if it's people who are not Christian, people who are not from Europe, people who are not from a culture that is akin to what we would say is American culture, the fact is you come here and you adjust, not you come here and we adjust now that you are here. And you can say that that's xenophobic, or you can just understand that that's how the world works. That's what a country and a culture is: a consistent, a consistency of values, a consistency of principles, a consistency of social norms. That is what it is. And in order for a melting pot to be an appropriate metaphor or analogy, everything's got to melt in the pot.
The identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah, maybe since like the 1960s. Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally.
Again, why? She's cooking right now. Why did half of them have their flags up?
Yeah, maybe since like the 1960s. Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Matthew Gang said, I feel like anyone who showed up here was willing to accept the basic Christian values we had, even if they had their own. Yeah. Because that was the dominant culture and the reason that they wanted to come here in the first place. Whether it was specifically Christian or specifically European, whatever it is that was America before they got here, that is what they wanted. And so they come here and change what that is and then complain, then they're not having a good time.
Pot literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting means?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Show me a melting pot where things are not melted together. And I will show you something that's not a melting pot.
We're saying there's something wrong with
the dominant
xenophobia.
culture. No, I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. Like, you and I have
I'm $10 says he's going to do some emotional grandstanding. I genuinely do not know what's coming. I'm sure there's going to be emotional grandstanding. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'm just a better person than you, in not so many words.
dominant culture. No, I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. Like, you and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice, and people.
50-50.
I think what you're expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about.
Yeah. Correct, Sam. We knew what we were voting for, and then we voted, and then we were getting it, and we're happy about that. Dietrich said, I agree, Matthew. I personally have no reason to disagree with a divorce if there's documented a history of abuse. Or in the case of an early abortion from frape, I like that one. Ingest or threat to the life of the mother. Same.
Thing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. And I think that's problematic.
I disagree. I don't think Trump's like any.
Not problematic. I knew it was like, well, I'm just going to be honest with you. You're problematic because you disagree with me.
Loser.
Cry about it, bitch.
You wear close to being a Christian nationalist. That's ridiculous. Like, Trump's basically a Democrat from like 15 years ago when it comes to
Not basically. He is.
So you don't think that he's conservative enough for you?
Oh, definitely. Nowhere close. No.
He's not xenophobic enough for you?
No, he's trying to pour a bunch of H-1Bs. Are you kidding?
Right. Oh, so you want to get them out too? Yeah. No, I mean.
Yeah. Why would we want to give jobs to Americans when there's Indians and Haitians who can do the same thing?
I think you're making my argument for me.
All right.
I'm just saying he's not even.
Yeah, but again, your argument is not one that holds any weight. Your argument is that, well, if you like Trump, then you're gonna like Trump. Cool, bro. This is like one of the sneak peek spoiler, whatever. One of the prompts when I was doing the thing on Modern Day Debate with Andrew Wilson was what was the word he used? Degeneracy should not be promoted. I'm like, so your prompt is bad things should not be promoted. Agreed, bro. Big brain take there. Like, you're not doing anything. You're just saying random shit and then asking random basic shit and then be like, see, you can't prove me wrong. My next prompt is the sky is blue. Like,
My next claim is the GOP will destroy Social Security and healthcare.
Hopefully.
Nice to see you.
So what if Social Security should go away? That's my question to you.
Because Social Security keeps 2/3 of our elderly out of poverty. And not only does it keep our elderly out of poverty, it's essentially a social insurance program.
Okay, what about the young people in poverty who are paying into a system that they will never get money back from? Don't care about those, do you?
That protects you if at the end of your life, you don't have enough money to survive.
For right now, do you know that it's also the albatross around our generation's neck?
No, it isn't.
Okay, so
let me just explain this.
Well,
I didn't mean to buzzer there, but absolutely right.
Go back to lecturing me about Social Security.
No,
we don't
that's
have,
what we're talking about.
Social Security. Social Security is one of the top 3 funded.
Social Security is almost the biggest thing that our government does.
Exactly. And we are more than $30 trillion in debt.
Well, first of all, Social Security cannot contribute legally to the deficit.
Because they don't even account it in the federal deficit every year.
Correct.
Like, we're really in debt, but we're not even counting all the debt from Social Security. Okay. Dietrich said, generation should not be promoted. If you disagree with me, you're a fascist, and I knew it. Quite the argument. That's all they got. That's all they got. They said, I love these guys are shocked when we don't think Trump goes far enough. Like, bro, he isn't conservative. He's a Democrat. But he's the best option we got. And that's, the part of the discussion of like somebody like me. I do think he's conservative enough. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm not, that far right. I'm just definitely definitely not anywhere close to where the Democratic Party is. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. They want to make it into some I don't know, something about something else, something about racism and sexism and patriarchy and all these fucking gay words. No, it just so happens that my values are different than your non-values.
We have
Because
30
it's
years more
self-funding. When Social Security started in 1936,
David, get
you have
tired?
more workers than retirees.
Couldn't
because
answer the
people haven't
question,
entered into
David?
retirement. By 19
So the answer was no. I don't remember the question, but it was no. Shout out to Trondon. So there's no debt spending from Social Security that they account for. The fact check says Social Security is funded through a dedicated payroll tax paid both by employers and employees. However, trust fund reserves are expected to run out by 2035, which will lead to a decrease in benefits. Not me. That's the fact check.
1970, it was at 3.5 to 1. Now it's at 2.5 to 1. But productivity has increased during that time. So
What else has increased? Like inflation? And so the value of those dollars?
the amount of money paid into Social Security has been up there. The reason why we are running out of money just for the trust fund, not for Social Security. Like I say, if we do nothing with Social Security now, it is statutorily unable to contribute to the debt. The math is right there. The reason why the trust fund is running out is because wealth inequality has hoarded so much money above the
You
cap.
don't think it's because
So
the
if-
government?
Hold on. What was that?
Because
So we got a
wealth
fact
inequ-
check. Said in 1940, the ratio of covered workers to covered retirees was 159 to 1. Since 2010, the ratio has been below 3 to 1. Sounds like it works. Sounds like the government doing their thing. Trondon said, doesn't mean there is debt spending to fund it, though. Is there money coming out of people's pockets, going to the government and going to other people who then will not get that same benefit? Because whatever way you switch around the numbers, if it still ends up with people paying into a system that is meant to pay them back and they don't get paid back, then it's a bad system. That's it.
Is right there. The reason why the trust fund is running out is because wealth inequality
Are you chewing gum, bro? Is this dude chewing gum? Don't
has
chew gum on camera.
hoarded so much money above the
You
cap.
don't think it's because
So
the
if you-
government does
no,
a terrible job managing their money?
no.
They have a
No, the government's just amazing with their money.
huge
Not at
spending
all.
problem, and they go, oh, look
No,
at all this money
they
we have
knew
for
this in
Social Security that's
1983.
earmarked for 60 years from now
ago.
that we're just going to spend on
40
something right now.
years ago, they predicted this. This is an actuarial table. Accountants sit there and look at it. This is a very easy math problem.
Accountants in
If
the
you-
government are always right? That's totally the thing that you're saying. That they're always correct about money, right? That's why we have a $40 trillion debt problem.
The problem isn't the math with the 40 trillion debt problem. It's the you have tax
It's the
cuts and you
spending
spend-
problem. I totally
Yes.
agree with you, which
Social
I would argue is
Security-
part of why Social Security's gone in the hole already.
That's simply not true.
Oh, okay. So we're out of money from
If
the
the
Social
trust-
Security bucket.
No. Statutorily, by that I mean by law, Social Security pays for itself. If we do nothing,
It pays for itself by taking things from other tax-funded things. Like, come on, man.
nothing, the 6.2% that your employer and your employee pays into it will pay out 78%
Yes.
of benefits starting in 2033.
And why is
But
it
if
going
we
down?
raise
If
the
everything's
cap-
so much better, why
if
is it
we
only
raise the
78%?
cap- If we raise the cap, there's a cap
Why do we need to raise the cap if it's doing so well?
right now at 100.
Fact check. Employers and employees each pay 6.2% a year on up to $176,000 of income. Self-employed workers pay double.
$176,000.
That's me.
So for instance, if you make $100,000, you pay $6,200 into that.
A year,
But
yeah.
a year. But if you make $4 million, do you know how much money you pay into Social Security?
Twice as much.
Less than that.
$6,200.
And so why
So
should
why
wealthy
should-
people hang on? Why should wealthy people pay a higher percentage?
No, they should pay the same percentage. 6.2 on $400,000, 6.2 on $1 million.
And why should they pay even more money at all?
Because-
they make more money? Again, you
Yes.
fundamentally have this idea that
progressive
because
taxation.
you have an idea that because somebody makes more money, that's fundamentally wrong, right?
No, I don't think it's fundamentally wrong. I think
You
that
have
they
a
should
good-
pay more taxes into it. Now,
It's not wrong. You should just be punished for it.
Now, I do think as a society, we should not allow billionaires. So, for
they
instance,
can pay more taxes
do you know
generally,
what
but
the,
why should
the
they?
highest tax
Well,
rate
hang
was
on.
and the greatest
Does a-
expansion
does
of
a-
our economy
Hang
in
on,
this
does a
country?
billionaire get more money from Social Security if they went to go take it than I would?
No.
Guys, we are coming up on the we are coming up on the 2.5 hour mark. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it. What does Matthew here say? Politicians have been borrowing from the Social Security pool for decades. I've been hearing about it since I was a kid 40 years ago that it was going to be an issue. And I mean, I as long as I've been paying attention to politics, which hasn't been very long, to be honest. But yeah, it's always been exactly what you're talking about. And so there is, so we're talking about, there's no debt spending from Social Security, but that's because they borrow from other places to replenish what is Social Security money. Like, money is fungible. So the fact that Social Security money doesn't go down, but everything else, like, what are we talking about? Come on. Like, obviously is not a successful program. And so when all the boomers were working, there was a huge fund that nobody had control over, so they all took their cut. Yep. Teacher said, I don't think there should be billionaires because I can't be one. Yes, you can. I believe in you. I believe in you. And yeah, now there's not enough workers to replenish it. Simple math, right, Sam? Simple math. If we have 10 million people paying into a system, and then there's only half of as many people paying into that same system, the math ain't mathin'.
Does a billionaire get more money from Social Security if they went to go take it than I would?
No,
of course not.
insurance.
So why should they pay more?
I'll tell you what. Because it is a social insurance program that keeps you from being in poverty when you're a senior. And the reason why I think billionaires should pay more taxes,
because I'm Dietrich and I can't be one, so they should pay.
Than other people, even a higher percentage, is because it works better for society. The greatest expansion we've had in this country in terms of economics and the least amount of wealth disparity was in the 40s and 50s and 60s in this country. Do you know what the top marginal rate was?
It was high.
Do you know what it
I don't
was?
know the exact number, but
if you made over $470,000 in 1955, every dollar you would make above that was taxed at 90%.
So I have a question.
90 cents on every dollar was taxed above 470.
I would dare to say that is downright un-American.
So if we had
which is wild, by the way. But
and it's also the greatest expansion we have.
Fact check. In 1955, individuals making more than $200,000, equated to $2.4 million today, or married couples with an income of what equals $4.8 million, were taxed at 91% at the highest tax bracket. Hey, a shout out to Guam Tag. $2 make you holla. Thank you so very much. No question, no comment. Just pure love of the game. Thank you so much. Let's keep this party raging. Dietrich said, I don't take shit from my cat when he's licking his own asshole. Why would I take it from Sam doing the same thing? Yeah, shouldn't. Now, he said billionaires shouldn't be paying more. We should stop stealing from it. People should be charged for theft. Agreed.
Yeah,
which is wild, by the way. But
and it's also the greatest expansion we had of the economy.
Yeah, you can expand for a time, and then you see places. You see like Nordic countries that were like, oh, let's tax the hell out of our rich people, right? And then they go, whoops, we messed up. We can't actually live off of our terrible. We basically are able to live off our economic boom that they had between like the 40s and the 90s. And then we have to revert all of that because we made a terrible choice. And we were able to have a party for 50 years until we realized we ran through all the money that capitalism got us.
It's essentially like getting a cash advance on your credit card. Like, if you got a $10,000 credit card limit, you could ball the fuck out for a day or two. Doesn't mean that's good financial prudence.
So let me ask you real quick. So the average person, right? Right now they fundamentally look at Social Security, young people like me, and they go, I'm going to have that money sitting, waiting for me when I retire. Since your opinion is whatever works best for the average person is better, wouldn't you rather shift towards something that I would agree with, which is getting people that are 19, 20 years old into funding their own retirement rather than relying on other people to fund it for
You're talking
them?
like the 401k.
Sure. Well, not just the 401k, but for IRAs, any other type of retirement. Would you agree? Would we agree with that?
Social Security was set up as part of a
Notice how he didn't give a yes or no answer.
three-legged stool, where back in the day when I was a kid, we had defined benefit pensions, where you'd know how much money you would get out.
Yeah.
That all shifted in the 80s to defined contribution, where you know how much you put in. The 401k started during that Reagan year.
Yep. Why the Dems hate Doge. Infinite spending is doable. We just got to keep raising taxes and print more money. It's getting to a point where it's difficult to say new things about the stupidity of this perspective and ideology. It is genuinely getting difficult.
It has been a disaster, because the fact of the matter, for better or for worse, people just don't save in the way that you're talking about.
Why?
It would be nice.
Maybe they would if there wasn't a false hope that the government is going to take care of everything. People need to be incentivized to do things.
If the government were changing the mindset and actually pushing that cultural shift towards, we're not just going to hand you money when you're 65. You have to plan for it right now.
We've had a 40-year experiment with that, the government affecting the cultural mindset, and it failed.
We've had a 40-year experiment of everybody. You know what my parents say? Do you know what grandparents say? They go, well, I'm just waiting for my social security check to come in, rather than I have $800,000 waiting for me because I thought about it when I was 19 and 20, because I didn't have this grab bag of money waiting for me. You're assuming
Hey, man.
Great. I try and tell my kids.
So we agree. So we agree. We should get rid of Social Security and phase it out. Well, no. So we should phase out. So how would you?
Got him. Got him. Good job, dude. Good job.
Listen to this idea. You phase out Social Security to where people who have 5 years left before they retire get 100% of the benefits. And then people like me who have 40 years until we retire,
dude,
I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get screwed either way.
No,
you really think I'm going to get Social Security?
Yeah, the government said they'll give you money and you've been paying into it. So of course you're going to get that money. It's not like the government would lie or be inefficient. Like, come on. What are we talking about? Oh my goodness. Monk, Master General, keeping the goddamn channel afloat. Eat it, you lazy bitch. Said, rage on, you freaks. I am out. Thank you so very, very much. Funk, Master General, out sponsoring himself and keeping the party raging. Thank you so very, very much. He said, I will not be raging this evening. I am old and I have to go to sleep so I can get up at 4 a.m. to get dressed so I can go get the morning paper. Well, you know, that paper is very important at your age. I joke. Thank you so very, very much, sir.
Screw you.
I'm going to get screwed either way.
No,
you
you're
really
not.
think I'm going to get Social Security?
It really does.
To you, at the very least, you're going to get 78% of your benefits.
Clip it.
That's awesome. I'll get $9,000 a year. That's great.
In calling for our government to increase the cap, in fact, get rid of the cap, then your grandkids will get Social Security.
I would much rather.
So you're saying we need to pay more into the system in order for it to work? That sounds like it not working.
I would, and again, maybe we'll just disagree, but I would much rather result to, hey, 20-year-olds, please save for your own retirement, invest for your own retirement, because the government is bad at dealing with money.
And what happens
don't rely
if they
on
don't?
them. What happens if what?
What happens if those 20-year-olds don't listen to you?
The same thing that happens if a 20-year-old just doesn't go and get a job because I tell them.
Right, but you actually have the incentive, the cultural desire for people to want to go get a job, which is not what is the case right now. Teacher said, logic. We should be responsible for our own futures from the start. Sam, I agree. Logic. So we should get rid of Social Security. Sam, no. Accurate.
Them too. No. They're going to have a problem, but that's not my fault.
No, I got news for you. It's not your fault, but there used to be in New York City 30,000 people sleeping on the Bowery.
No one in this room was.
And Social Security is the reason that homelessness is not as much of a problem in New York City. Is that your contention, Sam?
Before Social Security. We've all lived under this, just like the
and it
income
has
tax.
been the most successful government program in the history of our government.
Things that are successful don't just start to die out and
It's
end up in
not
the
dying out.
It's
You're arguing for giving more money to it. What do you mean?
the grab bag of money, the massive excess that was there in the early years because of the 42-1 benefit.
It wasn't a massive excess in 1936.
42-1
Dude,
is
that was
a
just
massive
because
excess.
There weren't that many people who had entered into the Social Security program.
And that's going to change, or that's going to continue?
Stupid.
And the fact that
in 1970, it was 3.5 workers to 1. Now it's 2.5, but productivity has increased it. I've told you why the Social Security Trust Fund is running out. It is because of wealth disparity. Billionaires hiding and hoarding their money above the cutoff line, which is 176,000. That's the cap. If you remove the cap, your grandkids
billionaires aren't keeping $2 billion under their mattress. They're investing it back into.
They're just putting it into some stock market, or they're just looking around.
And what do you
right? That helps normal Americans.
think a 401k or an IRA relies upon? It relies on the stock market and things like that.
Yeah, a 401k relies on the stock market. And I knew people who were retiring in 2008 when the stock market tanked and they got screwed.
Well, that's a whole.
So there was a literal recession in 2008. Therefore, what?
Well, that's a whole other problem. I would argue that's largely driven by the government being, once again, terrible with policy and bad economic habits.
Too big to fail, right? That has nothing to do with the government and how they use money, right?
Security is there regardless of what happens with the stock market.
Okay, pause.
Is it though? Maybe right now, but as our boy here is arguing, for how long?
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Why would you do that? So here's what I want to do. So they have a couple more people talking about this. Another dude here. And then the last one is Trump policies make the rich richer and the working class poorer. But what I'd actually like to do is go to the end here where he gets to pick his own person that gets 10 minutes of just uninterrupted discussion. So if we are still raging, we can go back, but let's check it out.
Guys, sorry, time's up. I'll let you go
no problem.
longer.
I choose Ben because he let me lecture him about Social Security.
And even right there, you're saying, well, he let me talk a lot so I can burn more clock. You have 20 people to choose from. And you're a professional. Instead of choosing the one who gave you the hardest discussion, you're articulating that you're going to take the easy route, just like a Democrat. I mean, I personally think he did pretty well, but
my claim is that abortion is immoral and should not be legal.
Yeah, I disagree because
they told me to.
Largely because I think the primary rights that we have under a society should belong to the person.
Unless it's the COVID jab, right?
And I don't believe a fetus is a person.
Okay. Okay. So
This is what I mean. A fetus is not a person? In 2025, you're saying a fetus is not a person? That's wild. Like, yeah, some fucking random girl at a pride parade, sure. But as Funkmaster brought up, you're supposed to be a thought leader. I see, unless the person isn't born yet. Exactly.
It's very interesting. You don't believe the fetus is a person. When do you think that it gains personhood, in your opinion? Would you agree it's a human life, at least?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, yes, I think largely.
So explain to me, what is a human life that is not a person? If the only thing you can say is a fetus, then that's tautological. It's only not a person because it works for my argument. And there's no other instance in the world, in the universe, where something is human, but it's not a person, except for when I want to kill it. Good luck with that one, bro.
I think that claim is largely like, it's not relevant to the way that I think about it. I think about it in terms of personhood. I mean, I think life exists all around us. And
not human. Well, I mean,
not-
human
not
life,
human
but
life.
not like there's
Right.
not human life in a tree.
Right, correct.
So
And
it's human life.
it's
but,
human life.
but it's not a person.
It's not a person.
At which point does it gain personhood
I think-
and gain the value of being a human?
Well, I think it becomes a person
Birth?
when it's born.
Why? So 5 seconds.
Ah, come on, bro. You had just stick with why. Why? By talking more after that. I mean, why? Because X, Y, da, 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 da. Then you're giving him something else to latch onto to talk about. Just say why. Okay, fair. I am understanding your position is that a human life becomes a person at the point of birth. Why? Now, when you're talking about, well, why is this and that, you're giving him, I don't know if he's going to be able to use it, but you're giving him more fodder.
A human.
Well, I think it becomes a person when it's born.
Why? So 5 seconds prior. It's not born yet. Not person. 5 seconds after exits the birth canal. Person. Is there a magical quality to the birth canal? What is that?
The person becomes separate from the host that has been.
That's not even true. That's not even true. Have you heard of an umbilical cord? That comes with the baby. I mean, again, I'm not a father, so I never seen it up close. But I'm pretty sure when that baby comes out the birth canal, it is still connected to the mother. Am I wrong?
Quality to the birth canal? What is that?
The person becomes separate from the host that has been that it's been growing inside.
Okay, so would you assign that to other human beings that are attached to things? Like, for instance, if I'm attached to a machine, am I a machine now? Am I part of that machine, or am I still a human life? I just need support in order to stay alive.
If you've never,
These are the questions that should be asked. And this is something I feel like people are maybe not comfortable with, or maybe it's not well understood that about drilling down. But this is what you need to do. You take what he's saying and play it out, because you know that he's wrong, or at the very least, you know that you can argue against it. And so this would have been the perfect thing to say. But, now we're nitpicking.
Machine, or am I
I mean, this is a pretty easy argument for Sam to lose.
still a human life? I just need support in order to stay alive.
if you've never been born and you're growing in, let's say, a test tube, for instance, then yes, I would argue you're not a person yet.
Okay, so then, but
Shout out to Giggling Spy over on Rumble. Welcome. Said, nope. Apparently, the doctor gives us personhood by cutting the cord. But even if that were true, that's not what Sam said. He said when you're disconnected, and then he said birth. Not the same thing. Welcome to the party, Giggling Spy. Context that maybe just whatever part is outside the vagina is human. So one can both be a fetus and a human at the same time. You see how ridiculous this is when you play it out? The head is human. Or excuse me, the head is a person, but his butt, it's not a person butt yet. It's not a human penis yet. If only an arm is poking out, then the arm is a person, but the baby isn't.
Come on, man.
This is his real, honest, genuine opinion and position. Matthew King getting it in. The Giggling Spy said Schrodinger's person. Oh, man. You guys. Schrodinger's person. You only find out once it's out of the vagina. Brilliant.
A test tube, for instance, then yes, I would argue you're not a person yet.
okay, so then, but it's not really the disconnected part. It's the
No.
being born part.
Good job. See, asking, even though he, I was nitpicking on how much he put in that question, he's nailing down on the points that Sam is saying. So he specifically said that it's the separation. And so then you're talking about a test tube baby that is not, or rather is separated from the mother, yet that's not a person either. So what is your metric for what is a person is not a person?
you're growing in, let's say, a test tube, for instance, then yes, I would argue you're not a person yet.
Okay, so then
Hey, a shout out to Goldie Toe. I'm gonna go with Little Toes. I'm sorry, but unless you're actually a different person with the same exact picture, that's how I know you. That's what it is. Welcome to the party. Hey, gotcha.
but it's not really the disconnected part. It's the being born part.
Well, being born means being disconnected from your mother.
Not in a test tube, as you just brought up.
Okay, so you're specifically aligning having the quality of being birthed as what makes someone a person.
Person within the context of our society and civilization.
So just in our society, you wouldn't say that objectively that's a person. You would say that we just decide that it's a person because it's birth.
Yeah, rights we give to persons. Yeah.
Okay, so
the whole thing about who are you to decide what books can be read? Yet you're in the position of deciding what is and is not a person human. Okay, dude.
I guess that's an interesting kind of definition of what human life and specifically personhood
Well, no,
is.
I don't. I'm conceding that it's human life, but that you're not a person until you're born, and you do not have.
Based on what? You're just saying that. You have to give a reason as to why that is the case.
Have the same rights that we would give,
why?
Well, we have rights about cruelty to animals, for instance, right? But they're not persons within the context of our society.
I'm not saying that they are, but specifically, it seems like you're just kind of saying, oh, it's a person when it's born, but you're not actually providing any consistent reason for that. You're just saying it just is a person.
I'm saying that on some level, there's a certain amount of arbitrariness as to when we give rights. Like one could say,
is there though? In this situation, that's what you're arguing for, but you haven't given a reason for that arbitrariness.
Do you say it's at conception?
Sure.
Yeah, because science and stuff.
Yeah.
So IVF, in other words, would have to be illegal under your principle because.
Nope. Because just because you're taking an embryo that is fertilized, because of the fact that you're not directly going to end it, and you're this is part of the process of having a fully born child. Yeah, I mean, technically, it is not ideal that embryos get destroyed, but it's not the same thing, and we want people to have children. Shout out to Adam Lowe. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. We got Sam Seder trying to argue against abortion is immoral and should not be illegal. And he's not doing very well. There we go. Little said, being a feminist doesn't get you females, at least in the way you want them. I mean, I can't say from experience, but I definitely believe it.
Sure. Yeah.
So IVF, in other words, would have to be illegal under your principle because.
I mean, I'm not sure that I would agree with IVF in that case. It really depends on the particulars in that case. But I believe.
Well, what do you mean the particulars?
Well, so for instance, at conception, you would still be a human life. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the fertilized egg attaches to the wall.
Is it human life for you or what?
It's human life. Yeah.
Okay. So human life should be protected.
Yes.
Okay. So IVF.
Yeah, I would say that.
So IVF should be illegal under your rubric.
No.
So
again, the question, there's clearly a misunderstanding that Sam is very aware of. Homeboy here should be like, why are you saying that it should be illegal? Maybe he doesn't fully understand the nuances of the fact that when you do IVF, you implant the sperm in the egg and so on and so forth, and there are embryos that are human DNA. Unique DNA that will get destroyed. Shout out to Andrew Schultz. If you've seen his new comedy special, you'll know. And fair warning without spoilers. If you have a heart, be prepared to cry. Be prepared to cry when you watch Andrew Schultz's new special. I'm just putting it out there. Matthew said a fertilized egg is not the same as an embryo. True. But does a fertilized egg, a genuine question I do not know, does a fertilized egg that is not yet an embryo have unique DNA? I believe it does, right? Should we, let's get a full, so, let's say, does, whoa, caps, does an embryo that is not used in an IVF treatment doesn't have a unique Yeah, so that's what I thought. So it still has its own unique DNA, in which, in my personal opinion, and many people who are Christians, that makes it a human being, and I agree with that. So but again, there is a difference. So this is yes, embryos created through in vitro fertilization, but it's not but not used. Wait. An embryo that is created through IVF but not used, still has unique DNA that is distinct from both parents. The embryo was formed when the sperm and egg combine, resulting in a new genetic code. There's a mix of both parental DNA. This means it is genetically unique, just like any naturally conceived embryo or child. Even if the embryo is never implanted or allowed to develop further, from a biological standpoint, it is already a distinct genetic identity from the moment of fertilization. And so I am against abortion, but I don't think that just because it is unique DNA that it is the same thing as going through an abortion procedure. Can you articulate why someone might have this position? Let's outsource a little bit. So someone who's pro-life but does not equate discarding an unused IVF embryo with an abortion might take the following distinctions. 1. Biological development versus termination of life. While an embryo has a unique DNA, it has not yet begun the process of implantation in the uterus. Some may argue that life, in a moral or legal sense, begins at implantation rather than at fertilization. Not me. Abortion, on the other hand, involves actively terminating a pregnancy where the embryo or fetus is already developing within the mother's body. Okay, so a different one is intent and direct action, which sounds like it's more up my alley. In an abortion, there's an active procedure to stop an already progressing pregnancy. With unused IVF embryos, there is no direct action to end a life in development. Rather, the embryo is never given the opportunity to implant and grow. Some people see this as a morally significant difference. That's me. Number 3, natural laws versus intervention. Many fertilized eggs fail to implant naturally, even in unassisted conception. If one believes that an embryo outside the womb is not yet in the process of developing as a person, then letting it remain unused might not carry the same moral weight as an abortion. We got moral versus practical concerns. Some pro-life advocates focus on protecting life within the womb because it has a direct relationship to the mother and a clear biological trajectory. Unused IVF embryos, by contrast, exist outside the body, and their status as, quote, potential life rather than developing life makes them a gray area for some people. And again, genuinely agree with that. Number 5 out of 5. The role of viability. Many unused embryos may never develop into a baby due to genetic defects or other issues. Some argue that since not every embryo will successfully develop, discarding unused embryos does not carry the same moral weight as ending a viable pregnancy. This position allows someone to remain committed to the pro-life view while recognizing that there's moral and biological nuances when it comes to IVF embryos versus abortion. I said shit. Me too. Context in the future. Once you pass from the machine test tubes to open air, you're now a person. Makes sense. Cheddar Steve said, "You're not a penis until you can get a boner." What? Goes on to say, "I was poking that shit in, not out." Battle of the retards. What are you talking about, pal? What are you talking about? Wilto said even smelly feminists in college are still getting free ass, but it's harder to avoid it in today's colleges. Sad days we live in. Can't argue with that. Matthew Yang said, I consider it just an egg until it's implanted in the mother. Then it's an embryo or fetus. But it is an embryo. You could say then it's a fetus, and you could say that an embryo that's not implanted is not a fetus. You can take that position. But you can't say the embryo is not an embryo until it meets the requirements that you like. It is an embryo. Biologically, scientifically, that is what that word means. It is a fertilized egg that potentially could be grown. And so this is a big reason why Sam is, because remember, guys, not religious, almost anti-religious, and more liberal than a lot of you, not by much, but enough. And so these are the things that we need to be able to lay out. We need to lay out the argument, and words matter. And so, in fact, a fertilized egg is the same as an embryo, but an embryo is not necessarily a fetus, according to some people. And I would disagree with that. I think so and that's a fair opinion. I personally disagree. I think once that egg is fertilized, once unique DNA is created, that is a human person fetus. That being said, if in the attempt to create human life, there are some casualties, that is not the same thing. Even though it's bad, it's not the same thing as actively going and killing it. We're talking about, if we're at war and we blow up, a military opponent's fucking house, and there's some collateral damage. That's still bad that people died. It's not the same thing as going to a mall and it's not the same thing. If you want to reduce it to, well, people died, then okay, you can do that. But they're not the same thing. They're just not. And I think that's what Sam's hanging on. So let's see if I forget his name. Did they put his name here? They did not. I don't remember his name, but let's see if you can handle that.
Human life should be protected.
Yes.
Okay, so IVF.
Yeah, I would say that.
So IVF should be illegal under your rubric.
No.
And so for what he should be saying is no. At best, it's a necessary evil.
No. So they're human lives, correct?
The IVF is when the egg and the sperm
today, Junior,
and then they're supplanted.
Yes.
Is it when is it human life?
As soon as it has unique human DNA.
And that's the embryo. There are unique strains of human DNA that are snuffed out in the process of IVF on the regular. That has to be something that you contend with. You need to understand either I'm okay with that, or you know what? I'm not okay with that, and I'm also against IVF. Those are the two options when it comes to this.
That's a human life.
Okay. So
it's a new human, correct?
Now, in the IVF process, there's stuff that gets thrown out. Like,
yes.
You would consider that murder.
I'm not even defending IVF or going against it. I'm specifically saying abortion. That was my claim, right?
There you go. Bring it back and drive the conversation, because Sam's actually making some headway and catching him on a little bit of a, I don't know, a soft spot, like not where he's greatest, but good job. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about abortion.
And I'm not going to argue IVF.
But isn't that abortion under your principle?
I would say if you get rid of human life after conception, I don't think that's moral. I'm not going to argue the IVF particulars because that's not what my claim was, right?
There you go. Yeah, like I said, I get frustrated when they link IVF with abortion. They're polar opposites. One is actively creating life. The other is termination of life. I mean, that is the intent, but we can't dispel the true fact that in many IVF situations, there are human embryos that are unique DNA that are snuffed out. That happens. So we need to reckon with that. If that's not something you can get past, then maybe you need to, not you specifically, the general you, if you can't accept that, then maybe you're in the position where you need to rethink if you're okay with IVF. And if you are okay with that, then you can make that distinction. Or you could even go, you know what? I actually don't necessarily have a problem with abortion at this early level. Either way, we have to contend with the facts as they are.
When we're talking about laws, right? Because you want to outlaw abortion.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. When we're talking about laws, it's not just morality when we form public policy around and create laws.
Not just, but it should be moral, correct?
Well, I mean,
Correct.
I think like your
should have a
definition of
moral.
what constitutes moral and mine are different.
Wait, you couldn't give a hard yes on our laws should be moral?
Be moral, correct?
Well, I mean, I think like,
Well, I mean, if it works for me, then morality, I guess. But no, we don't need to have morality. We just need to have things that I want.
like your
should have a
definition of what constitutes moral and mine are different. For instance, I would prefer in a perfect world not to have abortion on demand until, up until birth, right?
Sure.
In a perfect world. However, we know in practice that when you start to restrict things like
I remember this part, so I'm giving you fair warning that I know exactly what's coming, and so I'm not, smart and just taking this off the top of my head. But I remember.
say only in the threat of life to the woman, let's say. That's the only way we're going to allow abortions, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you start to have these exceptions, they're in practice, they don't work, because when your life is in jeopardy and you come into a hospital, the doctor doesn't see a bulb that shows up above you and say like, your life is in jeopardy.
Oh, so you don't trust the experts? I thought we were supposed to trust the experts. When it comes to the transes, whatever the doctor says goes, right? But we can't trust doctors. They're just people, right? No principles, just positions. No principles, just positions. In this case, his position is we can't trust a doctor. When it comes to the trans, well, the doctor said. It's from a doctor. I don't know how people live like this.
Into a hospital, the doctor doesn't see a bulb that shows up above you and say like, your life is in jeopardy. It's always a subjective assessment. And what is life?
And one that you're totally fine with when it comes to transing, but not abortion. Inconsistency. I said, I don't want them fertilizing 100 good eggs just to implant one. Yeah, typically it's more like 5 to 7 for one, somewhere around there, maybe up to 10. I'm kind of pulling this out of my ass, but from what I understand, and again, I did just watch fucking Schultz's thing, and they had IVF, so I'm using those numbers as well. Fact check me on that, but it's definitely not near 100 because women only produce 1 egg a month. And so the shots that they get are meant to increase that. And so, you might get 20 eggs in a month with all the hormones and shit. And then of them, there's, only so many that are viable. And then of them, only one is the best one. And the rest gets snuffed.
Your life is in jeopardy. It's always a subjective assessment. And what does life in jeopardy? Hold on. What does life in jeopardy mean? Does it mean a 30% chance of death? Does it mean a 50%, a 70%, or a 20%?
I don't know. Let's leave it up to the experts.
That's why we now have women who are dying because doctors are afraid to perform abortions on them. That's true.
Are you
So the kids that are dying because they hate themselves because they're trans, they don't matter.
Just because some doctors misread plain text doesn't mean that that it's
when you
all of a sudden
pass
that life
laws,
is less valuable and more valuable.
Exactly.
It means that
we should trust experts to an extent. We should trust the experts, but to an extent.
You are subjecting the woman to more risk, and it's impossible. These exceptions are they're canards.
You're doing the same thing to children, which you argued for earlier.
No,
when you oppose a law, it is not just about morality, it's in practice.
Sure,
in practice,
I understand that.
You cannot do this without sacrificing women's lives because
you cannot do any trans stuff that you're advocating for without sacrificing children's lives. So let's do a poll. Let's do a fucking twisted ass poll. Which is more important? The life of a woman or the life of a child. Clearly, we already know, based on his own words, what Sam thinks, that women are more important than children.
Understand that. You cannot do this without sacrificing women's lives because
What
of
about the
your
unborn
morality.
children, though? Because let's go.
I said, so loopholes make some haziness. We should remove all limits, even at 9 months when the baby can live on its own. This is the logic that they use.
Back to your born
Unborn
thing.
children
So let's
are
say
not
you have a
persons,
9-month.
Yes, they are.
The mother has more rights, in my mind, than the unborn child.
Yeah, that's
Told you.
a claim
The
that you can
fetus.
make. But so a 9.
Nobody, all you scaredy little bitches, hit the fucking pole, you little pansies.
Month birthed child, or just 9 month and just now born, it's a newborn baby. A 5-month could be emergency C-section and could be birthed, right? Let's say they don't do that. What's the difference between the arbitrary choice of taking that child out of the womb at 6
Why
months or
don't
5
we
months?
take all children
No, what
out
I'm
at
saying,
5
no, what I'm
months?
saying is that the personhood just because of birth runs into a problem where it starts to say,
All right, guys.
well,
I hate to do it, but I gotta do it.
Bro, that fucking... I heard the beeping, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
a birth runs into a problem where it starts to say,
All right, guys.
well,
I hate to do it, but I gotta do it. I'm sorry. That's time.
okay, hey,
All right.
I'm glad I was here. It was interesting. It was, I know my questions were more sort of policy oriented.
Were they though? Were they though?
think than maybe folks anticipated here. And I was a little bit surprised that there wasn't.
Is that a thing? Where y'all be not seeing the poll? The fuck? It's there. It's there. Hey, look what we got. Shout out to Right Quick. So as a quote-unquote Christian, I'm pretty liberal on abortion. By that, you mean you want it up to 9 months. I joke. Welcome to the party. We are finishing up, but headed right to the after party.
Many people here who could address the policies. They were very, very sure of themselves as to why they voted for Trump, but a lot of it was sort of not material.
Except it was. It's just not material that you accept. It is what it is, baby boy. It is what it is. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not true and doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So there's only a few of us. Well, I mean, a bunch of people came in the last minute. But I'm going to say the beeping means Sam Cedar's smugness battery is running low. Yep. This dude is full of cope. He is only cope. He is nothing but cope. And clearly, we here all say that, of course, human life is valuable. That's why we are pro-life. But if it comes down to the life of a child or the life of a mother or life of a woman, then, we typically are going to move towards the more innocent person. Not that a woman deserves to die. And even in the situation that we do have to choose, we may, in fact, choose the woman. But taking it out of the actual abortion argument, if we have to say whose life matters more, Sam Cedar has made it clear. Matthew said, as another Christian, I'm okay with the safe, legal, and rare. It's between you and God. It's your conscience. Fair enough. And I've said many times before that I think, despite the fact that I have my own personal opinions on this and that life does begin at conception, that Roe v. Wade was probably the best compromise we were ever going to get. I don't think it was a necessarily good thing to overturn that. Even though legally it was the right decision, I think we should have left well enough alone, because now a lot more children later on in their development are getting snuffed out. That's my phrase tonight. But so no peanut butter for Morty, but we will try again on Wednesday. Either way, let's give a big shout out to all of our donations. Very, very much appreciated. We had Guam Tech, and of course our boy Funk Messer General, keeping the channel afloat. I wish I was joking. So they haven't copyright claimed anything yet. But we'll see what they do. If not, then maybe we're going to get back into these, because there's a bunch that, I just didn't cover because I was scared. If they're not going to do it, then hey, maybe we will get into it. Clothing said, man, the abortion talks in my home are always interesting but exhausting. The wife is almost totally anti-abortion, and I'm more Ron Paul libertarian on the issue. For others, we don't condone abortions in this home. There you go. There you go. Oh my goodness. Come on, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. Let's give him a thick boy. Look how thick that one is. You like him thick. Yeah, thank you so very, very much, sir. With the last minute huzzah! Very much appreciated. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out, guys. I know that you could be doing anything, and you've chosen to hang out with me and everybody here, and that means the world to me. So thank you. Even if you were not able to donate, this is a free show, and I'm glad that you are here. What else is free is the Discord server at the top of the chat, the pinned post comment thingy. Link to our free Discord. It is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And if you are a member of the channel, you can see Andy Film's little thingamajigger next to his name. If you're a member of the channel, starts at just $2.99 a month. That's 12 after parties plus any type of watch party and stuff that we do. We've been watching Severance. We've been watching Yellow Jackets. We've been doing a lot. Come on and join us. It is the real reason that I'm here. We are building a community. We are building something real. And if you are sick of nothing out there being real, then you are in the right place. Come on through, and I hope to see you there. Once again, guys, thank you so very, very much for hanging out. I really, really do appreciate it. Once again, guys, that is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.